Very few places in sports can bring the thunder like Autzen Stadium. The Oregon Ducks faithful have reached decibel levels considered dangerous to the human ear. And that certainly makes it dangerous for whoever visits Eugene. Tonight, it's a true David versus Goliath. James Madison hopes to shock the world. It's the final game, round one of the college football playoff.
This is just the beginning.
The time has come. These select few are not finished.
We did it!
James Madison may be the ultimate underdog, but the Dukes are undaunted.
It's not about being a tougher team. You are the tougher team.
This is just the beginning!
Oregon seeks playoff redemption.
What happened last year has nothing to do with the future.
We left a lot on the field last year, so it needs to be a statement this year what we're coming for.
Before all of Duck Nation.
Only 12 teams in the nation get the chance to do what you're about to do.
The only thing at stake is everything.
We knew he'd be here. You blame for history.
This is just the beginning!
Welcome to the college football playoff first round, presented by Allstate. Just about set for kickoff here in Eugene. James Madison will take on Oregon. But last night, Alabama, they stunned Oklahoma. They overcame a 17-point deficit. Xavier Brown, the pick six, Simpson to Brooks from 30 yards out. And Alabama came from 17 down to advance earlier today. It was a defensive battle between Miami and Texas A&M until Malachi Tony, who fumbled halfway through the fourth quarter, scored the game's only touchdown late. Bryce Fitzgerald, a pair of interceptions. That one sealed it. And the Canes celebrate. They're on their way to the quarterfinal round. Next up, it was Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss did what Trinidad Chambliss does. 282 yards passing, 2 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown, and the Rebels move on. So 7 of 8 teams have now reached the quarterfinals. There's only one spot left. Either James Madison or Oregon will meet Texas Tech in the Capital One Orange Bowl on New Year's Day. Let's take a look at our Amazon Spotlight. James Madison and Oregon, their path to the playoffs. They both had tremendous seasons. For the Ducks, 11-1. They finished third in the Big Ten, and they're in the playoff for the third time. The second time in as many years with Dan Lanning at the helm. For JMU, they're the Sun Belt champions, a 12-1 record in only their second year to be eligible to win their league. What a watch party it was. You're watching the Amazon kickoff, and we welcome you here to Eugene. Bob Wischusen here with Louis Riddick, Chris Budden, Stormy Bonantoni. They will join us as well. For Louis Riddick, first trip to Autzen, and you're here for a playoff game. Boy, check one more off the bucket list of college football places to go. James Madison now enters this cauldron, but they're pretty confident they can hang.
They absolutely are. And look, you mentioned it earlier. This truly is a David versus Goliath type of matchup. These are two rosters that have been built in very distinctly different ways. Just think about with Dan Lanning, what he has accomplished here in the 4 recruiting cycles leading into this season. He has brought here 85 4-star players, 5 5-star players. Since 2022, since JMU entered the Sun Belt Conference, you know how many 5-star, 4-star players they've recruited? 0. But multiple 3-stars. And I'll tell you what, Bob Chesney has put together a roster here that believes that they can win this football game and it'll all be settled between the white lines, which is exactly where they want it.
Well, they're going to lean on their defense, but this is a heck of an offense they'll be trying to stop. This would be strength on strength.
No question about it. Look, Dante Moore, and a lot of people here in Oregon are trying to decide, or rather waiting to hear about his decision whether or not he's going to declare for the NFL draft. But in the meantime, he's just led an offense that's put up 38 points a game, 248 passing yards, one of the best in third down. But I'm telling you, the James Madison Dukes are no joke. Trent Hendricks is an All-American. He leads a defense that gives up just under 16 points per game. One of the best at stopping the run. They feel as though they have the firepower to make this a very, very difficult night for this Oregon Ducks offense. And I, for one, do not doubt them in any way.
James Madison on the field. And now the noise starts to build as the Ducks are forming up in their tunnel.
It's a little intense in that tunnel. It's just like a bunch of caged beasts wanting to come out here and perform in this great venue. And you're right, Bob, this is a bucket list thing for me. I mean, we have watched how many games here at this beautiful stadium, all this green and yellow. I cannot wait to get this thing kicked off.
Take this in. The smoke, the motorcycle, the mascot, and here come Oregon. All that's left now is to kick it off. We will do that in just a moment here in Eugene. James Madison, Oregon, you're watching the Amazon kickoff. It's the college football playoff first round, the final game of the opening round here at Autzen Stadium. And we're just about set for kickoff. Chris Button down on the field. And Chris, last year, the 1 seed, that was Oregon. They lost early, but they bring that experience into this year's prep.
Yeah, Dan learned exactly what it does to a team with a long layover. So this team has not played in 21 days. So last Saturday, right in this stadium, they held a mock game, complete with everything, with the duck on the motorcycle, a halftime performance, and shout before the fourth quarter to give his team that rhythm of playing a game before this game. What that rest also did was it got them a little bit more healthy, especially with the wide receivers, DeCorian Moore and Gary Bryant Jr., who have not played for the last couple games, expected to play tonight. For more on JMU, we head over to Stormy.
Well, Chris, JMU similarly tried to do their best to replicate the environment here at Autzen Stadium, blaring the loudspeaker every day at practice this week, trying to dial in their silent cadence. Head coach Bob Chesney said they're operating under the assumption today that they're not going to be able to hear a thing on offense, but he also said not to let the surroundings and circumstance change who they are. He told his players, be you, but at your best and most elite level, and to believe, because that's a key piece of this thing today. JMU's heard all the outside noise. They don't belong. That Oregon can name their score. Chesney said it's not about what the world thinks is impossible. It's what we think is possible, Bob.
We were sitting at the conference table yesterday, 3 feet away from Coach Chesney, and he told you if we were this far apart from each other at practice, you wouldn't have heard me. That was the prep this week to try and prepare for this atmosphere.
And that was about accurate, because it is tuned up in here already. Time to kick this thing off.
Oregon won the toss, and they want to set the tone with their offense. They took the ball. The final game of round 1 of the college football playoff is underway. Fireworks fly here at Autzen. Ryan on the kickback. Spins, rather. Whittington all the way out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. So that is pretty good field position for Dante Moore. Number 3 in America in completion percentage. And still, you can see at the bottom with 50 completions of 20 or more yards. High completion percentage and lots of chunk plays.
Yeah, this guy is a treat to watch now. Just so composed, so in control of this entire offense. They said he has a high degree of emotional intelligence, meaning he understands how to get the ball and who to get the ball to. When they need to get touches, he's in total command. I'm sure he will put on a show here tonight.
The toss to Whittington to begin. He turns the corner. He's down the sideline with a first down. Jacob Thomas punked him out, but Noah Whittington It looks like they will actually say he stepped out of bounds about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. So it's second down and a long one just across the 40.
And right away, offensive coordinator Will Stein coming out in that 12 personnel grouping, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and a running back, and running a pin and pull scheme to get outside on the perimeter. And you just see Noah Whittington averaging just under 7 yards per carry, 774 yards on the season.
Screen. And that's good for a first down to Jeremiah McClellan. I heard Chris Button tell you that DeCorian Moore, Gary Bryant Jr., who have both been out since before, and an injury to Gary Bryant Jr. during the Iowa game. So it's been about a month since those two have played. And boy, have Malik Benson and Jeremiah McClellan stepped up in their absence. Good protection and a delivery again to McClellan from Dante Moore. Another Ducks first down.
There you see just a basic West Coast type of principle where you get a flat route, a curl route, and a spot route over the middle. Right away, Dante Moore just delivering the football with accuracy on time.
4-man rush. He's well protected again. He's going to take a shot at the seam. In stride, Jabari Jensen. Touchdown.
There you see Jamari Johnson, the transfer from Louisville, stretching out, breaking the plane, getting Oregon on the board here early. He got him singled up one-on-one against All-American linebacker Trent Hendrick, and he just beat him down the seam. And then early on, you get a taste of just how explosive this Oregon offense is.
And they're going to run a trick play and try and go for 2. And that backwards pass to James Ferguson Reynolds. The holder ends up out of bounds, so they leave a point on the field on special teams. But when you've got tight ends that can play like wide receivers, Lewis, what a luxury.
Yeah, this is Jamari Johnson with a great release, and then just releasing outside the hash up the seam. Trent Hendrick can't catch up to him. Oregon takes the early lead. Take a look at the keys to victory here tonight for JMU's offense. You got to handle Oregon's defensive tackles. That here early. Defensively for Oregon, allow less than 3.3 yards per carry to this explosive JMU rushing attack. Offensively for Oregon, 5 to 7 plays of 20-plus yards. Look like they already started off pretty fast as far as the passing game is concerned. And for JMU's defense, they've got to win the turnover differential. They've got to come up with some extra cracks at it for this offense. Let's just see what happens here in their second series when they get back on the field.
Can their offense answer? Alonzo Barnett III, the Sun Belt Player of the Year, tears his ACL at the end of last season, the final play of the season, and didn't miss a game this year. Only 8 months later, came back and was able to start the season, make it all the way through, and 14 rushing touchdowns to go along with 21 through the air.
Yeah, he's going to need to do it all here tonight, Bob. He's going to have to distribute this football through the air. He's going to have to be a factor on design quarterback runs and the second reaction off schedule plays. That's going to make the difference as to whether or not JMU has a chance to match Oregon score for score.
Wayne Knight, not much on first down. Right into the arms of Amari Washington.
You see right away, we talked about one of the keys to the game for JMU's offensive line was their interior 3, handling Bear Alexander and Amari Washington, 52, who just made the first play. You've got to get these two defenders blocked, because if you don't, they will wreck your offense from inside out.
6 at the line of scrimmage for the Ducks. And can Barnett be heard? He's got to go individually to every guy along the line of scrimmage just to communicate. Another handoff, bouncing it outside is Knight. He's got the sideline. Wayne Knight all the way out to midfield. 24 yards on 2nd down and 10.
What a great read by Wayne Knight. And I want you to take a look at the quarterback, Alonzo Barnett. Look at the block he makes on the edge. Just absolutely puts the DB on the ground. The freshman Brandon Finney, the corner, and just springs Wayne Knight for a huge explosive play that gets him almost to midfield.
Wayne Knight, number 3 in America in all-purpose yards, just shy of 150 yards per game. He's their leading rusher and their leading receiver. Now they'll run the screen. Braden Wisłowski picks up 5.
Offensive coordinator Dean Kennedy told us, hey, look, we're going to try and get this ball on the perimeter. We know what the strength of this Tosh Lupoi-led defense of Oregon, we know what it is. We know that it's right down the middle. So we got to get the ball on the edges, on the perimeter, kind of stretch them sideline to sideline, and be very strategic and smart with the way in which we call plays.
Io Adei now joins Knight, flanking Barnett. Losing the football and jumping back on top of it, it appeared, was Barnett. It'll be 3rd down and 5, but a near giveaway. Dylan Thieneman was rushing up to the line of scrimmage. And now a 3rd down and plus territory for the Dukes.
This is where Alonzo Barnett has to be great. He has to make good decisions. Remember to use his legs in order to pick up first downs. He is healthy now, coming all the way back from that ACL injury. He has to be a factor here on 3rd down.
Well protected, and that's short of the first down. Lakota Dupree, the tight end, makes it 4th down and 2. And Lewis, Bob Chesney told us they know they have to be aggressive in this game. They'll obviously go for it, right?
No question. Anything 4th or 3 or less on the plus side of the 50 on the road here in this stadium when the team's already put up 6 on you, there's no question you're going for this.
We asked him this exact question yesterday, and he did not hesitate. He knows they're going to have to try and match Oregon score for score. Zone read. Making the catch. Right at the line to gain is Dupree. He's got it. Nice little play action fake by Barnett. And Bryce Betcher, Thieneman, sandwiched the tight end, but he gets just enough.
That's just a great job as far as the ball handling by Alonzo Barnett. And then the quick trigger to get the ball quickly out to Lakota Dupree. And just get just enough to get the first down. Now a new set of downs on the plus side of the 50. You see they continue to tack on the edges. They're going to want to try and take some shots and test these young corners for Oregon down the field in one-on-one situations.
High snap. Barnett. Tipped ball, and it falls in no man's land. It looked like Tatum. Tuioti got a fingertip on the football.
Yeah, Alonzo Barnett was trying to come back inside. Looked like he was trying to hit Jalen Sanchez, number 0, the transfer. Maybe trying to get that ball back over the middle to maybe the tight end, Josh Pfeiffer. Tatum Tuioti, the leading sacker on this Oregon defense, is getting those big paws up in the air, causing ball disruption.
And now Wayne Knight back in. I don't think we've seen the same formation twice yet on this opening drive from James Madison. Knight, jitterbugs. Picks up 3, so it will be 3rd down and 7. And is that the best chance that the Dukes have? Just to change up looks all night to, at best, make Oregon think a little defensively?
No question. That's exactly the wording that offensive coordinator Dean Kennedy used. He said, look, we have to make sure that this defense has to think as far as what's the personnel grouping, what's the formation, what did they run at it previously, what are they going to run at it this time? You see now they're going to try and, as they spread this formation, do they try and get the ball to someone like Braden Wisłowski, number 10?
Blitz on the way. And out on the edge, it's Wisłowski. Slips and falls close to the first down. Well, check that. DeGennaro made the catch. And so now it will be, it looks like, another 4th and short.
This is a nice little option route, little whip route by DeGennaro. You see he comes in like he's going to run a shallow cross and then just whips it back outside. Janeiro averaging just under 18 yards per reception. He's been a big play guy here. Another 4th and short type of situation. So they're going to spread the formation. Alonzo Barnett going to have to make some decisions.
Looks like it might be a direct snap right to the running back. Submarining, hoping for it is Wayne Knight. And he's got it. Terrence Green made the stop. But on 4th down and 1, a direct snap to Wayne Knight converts.
What a good, tough run by Wayne Knight. You see the defensive tackle wrapping Terrence Green, number 99, who goes 6'5", 330. Wayne Knight's only 5'7", 190 on a good day. And he still picks up the 1st down, but another set of downs. James Madison continuing to move this football methodically down the field.
Quarterback run for Barnett. Breaks a tackle. He's in the red zone.
Such a good read again by Alonzo Barnett. It's basically like the triple option. You see, he fakes the ball to Joby Mallory, pulls it. He sees the seam up the field. He just tucks it and picks up a huge chunk yardage play. Again, getting this defense to think, giving them multiple things to look at, different formations, different personnel groupings. They've got Oregon on their heels.
And a bit of a crease for 236-pound senior Joby Mallory. You go from 190-pound Wayne Knight to the 236-pound Hammer looking for a nail. And they move further in the red zone, where they have been a top 20 team this year, has James Madison, in terms of red zone touchdown percentage.
And a lot of that has to do with Alonzo Barnett's ability to be a dual threat option down here. It's true 11-on-11 football because of his ability to run the ball, but he's got such great field vision and is a pinpoint accurate passer down here inside the 20.
Barnett pulls it and gets spun back. So it will be 3rd down and 5. It's Amari Washington, another tackle at the line of scrimmage.
You just see all the different bodies going different ways that are really just causing this Oregon defense to have to key so many different things. It looked like they were going to run a zone read out to the right. They have double pullers coming back to the left. Alonzo Barnett then just kind of takes it on a quarterback counter. There is a lot that Tosh Lupoi's defense is having to look at here on this first drive. And it is working out well so far for James Madison.
3rd down and 6 in the red zone. Another blitz on the way. Barnett didn't see it. Batting ball. It looked like Tuioti knocked it down again. So now what do you do? It's 4th down and 6. Now they said they wanted to be aggressive. They knew they needed 7s and not 3s, but you probably have to take 3 here.
You're going to see Tuioti right here just coming inside on the stunt. And he gets right in the line of sight as he tries to get that ball to tight end Lakota Dupree, just coming flashing across the middle. He had him open. He could have hit him on it. But again, that's that ball disruption that we talk about. If you can't get in for the sack or a hit on the quarterback, get your hands up, cloud the running lanes. It's 2 times the time. He did a nice job on this drive.
And Morgan Suarez is good from 30 yards to get the Dukes on the board. They cut the lead in half. A time-consuming drive.
College football playoff first round is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands, and in part by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
So that the James Madison reaction when they got their matchup for the college football playoff. As we take a look at the college football playoff bracket, brought to you by AT&T. Again, only 1 spot remains in the quarterfinals. The winner of this game advances to the Capital One Orange Bowl to take on Texas Tech. Alabama came from 17 down. They draw Indiana in the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential, Ole Miss, and Georgia in the All-State Sugar Bowl. And how about the gutty win for Miami? They make it to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, and they get Ohio State. The longest drive of the season, Lewis, in terms of time of possession for James Madison. That was an 8-minute and 3-second drive. That's the longest they've had all year. They get only 3 out of it, but that has to be a confidence builder.
There's no question about it. And just think about the complementary effect that it has on this football game for James Madison. One, it keeps the Oregon explosive offense off the field and keeps their defense fresh. They have to make some adjustments here in this second drive, prevent the explosive plays, but that's exactly the profile they wanted to employ in this game.
That was also the longest drive, time of possession-wise, allowed by Oregon. They've got it when we come back.
That there are some who believe that if Dante Moore declares for this draft, he could be the #1 overall pick. It's because of throws like this, the anticipation to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Then how about just the calmness to manipulate defenders, have a full progression read, go from one side of the field to the other, and then hit the transfer from Louisville, Jamari Johnson, with just an absolute perfectly layered throw down the seam for the touchdown. Dante Moore off to an absolutely fantastic start, in total control of this offense, as we mentioned. Now here up for his second series.
He enters the draft right now. Mel Kiper's got him #1. And he gets help from his running game as well, as Whittington pushes the pile for about 3.5. Stormy.
Well, defensive coordinator for JMU, Colin Hitchler, told us coming into this game his side of the ball needed to show up and play their best from the beginning. But after giving up that early touchdown, he was really vocal on the sideline with his players. He said, we can play with them if you do your job, but double down, you have to do your job.
As much confidence as you would think the James Madison offense built, going 15 plays in 8 minutes. That quick strike for Oregon had to put a little bolt of fear into the defense for JMU as they crowd the line here. Pass out to the edge. Dyer Hill. The freshman gets loose down the sideline. Dyer Hill Jr. And they finally ride him out at about the 32.
This is exactly what defensive coordinator Colin Hitchler was worried about. He said he thought that they had enough to slow down the running game. It was the one-on-one situations out here on the perimeter. And you see Dyer Hill, he's able to beat the corner, Justin Eaglin, and then get loose down the sideline. And they have got some guys now that can absolutely fly. And just look at that stiff arm. I'm not going to say it's Derrick Henry-esque, but it's good enough. But they have got some guys that can just absolutely go. And we haven't even seen Jordan Davison, the fantastic freshman, yet touch the rock. Although #0 is in the game in the backfield.
Right on cue. Davison tripped up at the 10-yard line. Jacob Thomas saved the touchdown.
And this here you see it. You're going to see Davison just good outside on the perimeter and then get downfield. You see the freshman, another fantastic freshman, DeCorian Moore, with the block downfield.
Davison again to the 5-yard line. It'll be second down and goal. Drew Spinagati made the stop. Oregon pretty efficient in terms of putting the ball in the end zone, a top 30 team. And it's just the sheer volume of trips that they get. This is their 50th trip into the red zone this season.
In JMU, you have to slow down this running game. Everything builds off of the running game with any offense, and in particular this Oregon offense. And you have to make this offense more one-dimensional. Right now, they're having their way.
Oregon keeper. Moore to the pylon and in. Another Oregon touchdown.
Just perfect execution on this read. Dante Moore pulls the ball from Jordan Davison and then gets a great block out on the perimeter by tight end Roger Saliapaga on the edge. It's just like you draw it up in the meeting room.
Lewis, that's 2 touchdowns for Oregon on 9 total offensive plays.
I mean, they're absolutely humming. You see here, you're going to see Dante Moore pull the ball, and then just look at the block on the edge. And then it's just a foot race to the corner. Oregon absolutely on fire.
College basketball's biggest stage returns this spring. Watch the men's Final Four on TBS April 4th and 6th, and catch the entire NCAA March Madness men's tournament March 17th through April 6th on TBS, CBS, TNT, and True TV. Well, if you want the truth, it's this Oregon offense so far. 13 points on 9 plays. As we said, the last spot in the quarterfinals up for grabs tonight, but Alabama tied for the largest comeback in CFP history, overcoming a 17-point gap with Oklahoma to win it. How about Malachi Toney bouncing back after the fumble midway through the fourth quarter? They put the ball right back in the freshman's hands, and he scores what turns out to be the game-winning touchdown at Kyle Field.
Malachi Toney's been doing it all season long. You expect nothing less. Freshmen have really just taken college football by storm at some of the skill positions this year, particularly at running back. We're seeing it here tonight.
Quarterback keeper again. Oof. Barnett. Nice cutback, and he had a lot of room to run if Thieneman didn't make an ankle tackle.
Just watch this right here. Watch this one-on-one between Barnett and Jerry Mixon, the linebacker in the middle of the field. Just look at the move he puts on him right there. That just shows you how much confidence this young man has now, all the way back from that ACL injury suffered at the end of 2024. He has to continue to make plays like this and move the chains for JMU to stay in this game.
Roll out, wants the throwback screen, and that goes nowhere. That goes backwards, and it looks like they'll say it's an incomplete pass. That benefits James Madison. They would have lost 3 or 4 yards. Well, Alonzo Barnett, he has grown with this offense as the year has gone on. Lewis, obviously, he's a different player now than he was at the start of the season because he's had to overcome the ACL from last year. But his entire skill position group, for the most part, brand new from last season. And he didn't get to practice with them in the spring or the summer. So this offense has developed as the year has gone on. They need a 3rd down conversion here. They were 0 for 3 on their opening drive. Wide open. And Wisłowski scoots up the sideline, and they avoid having to go for it on 4th down by converting on 3rd. 7 yards.
I really like what Dean Kennedy, the offensive coordinator, is doing and how he is attacking in the passing game. Really attacking the flats out here on the edges of this Oregon defense with these option routes where they whip in and then just kind of turn and go and work back out. They have a lot of receivers like Wisłowski, like Jalen Sanchez that are very good running those kind of route concepts. And Alonzo Barnett just putting it on them and moving the football down the field.
So many different formation looks. Trying as best they can to keep Oregon off balance. They bring another blitz. And this time, trying to maintain his balance was Wayne Knight, but he only picks up a yard. Aaron Flowers got him at the 40-yard line.
Oregon loves to play this split safety defense, cover 4 and cover 2. They love to play like a hybrid type of robber scheme where they put Dylan Thieneman in about 8 yards right in the middle of the formation. They don't like to really play a lot of 8-man fronts. They expect these safeties to come flying downhill, and there you got an example of it from Aaron Flowers. Great tackle.
You said as an old safety, you're jealous about how Dylan Thieneman gets to play.
Oh, he's lined up in it right now. It's perfect.
Another batted ball at the line of scrimmage. That time, Amari Washington to go along with Tatum Tuiotti's pair. That's 3 tipped passes at the line for the Oregon pass rush.
Big Amari Washington, you're going to see him right here, just working over the left guard, Carter Sweezy. You see there, he's able to get his hips cleared and get past, and then get his hands up and disrupt the throwing lanes. Alonzo Barnett only goes 6 feet tall. He's going to have to change some of those arm angles to kind of keep these batted passes from becoming a problem.
They bring DeGennaro in the backfield. That's a backward pass. It's a trick play, and it's lined up. Landon Ellis down inside the 15 to the 11-yard line. They knew they had to dial up some trick plays. They go to the bag for one there, and it works to perfection.
It sure does. There you see it. This is the double pass. Landon Ellis has been a big play producer for this football team all season long. Number 2 on the team in receptions, number 1 in touchdowns. And that's just a huge explosive play, putting them down here inside the 10.
That is the end of the first quarter.
So that takes us to the end of the first. James Madison in striking distance. But it was Oregon in the first quarter. A one-handed catch by Jamari Johnson. That was touchdown number 1. followed by the Dante Moore scamper. And the Ducks have the 10-point lead. The start of the second quarter, the final game of the first round of the college football playoff. Oregon has 2 touchdowns on 9 offensive plays. James Madison, their only offensive possession in the first quarter. Their first was a 15-play drive to get them 3. Now their second possession takes us to the second quarter, where it's 1st and goal. Flag down. First penalty. And this looks like it'll be a false start, I think, against the Dukes.
See the Oregon defensive line shifted pre-snap.
False start. Offense. Right guard. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Defenses do this a lot. They try to shift. They will move the front pre-snap and do it all in unison. And sometimes offensive linemen, when they're not locked in on the snap count and they see that color move, it's just automatic that they move. It's got to stay locked in, stay focused.
Ducks bring another blitz. Barnett breaking a tackle, but only picking up about a yard is Josh Pfeiffer. Maybe 2 to the 13-yard line to make it 2nd down and goal. Jerry Mixon came over to make the stop.
Again, all of the false keys and misdirection and change of direction type of routes that offensive coordinator Dean Kennedy is throwing at this Oregon defense. It's taking him a little while to kind of settle in and lock in on what JMU is trying to do.
They run it with Knight. Speed to the edge. Flag thrown. He's out of bounds at the 6. But a flag thrown, and this once again will go against James Madison.
Holding. Offense. Number 89. 10-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
That's a killer. They just don't have any margin for error trying to go touchdown versus touchdown against Oregon.
It's on the tight end, number 89, Josh Pfeiffer, as he tries to make the block on the nickelback, Jaden Kennedy, who's coming up to support and try and turn this ball in, and he basically just throws him to the ground. But you're right, they don't have much margin for error. They have to play a very clean game and really maximize every possession that they have. They cannot play from behind the sticks versus this team in this environment.
So now it's 2nd down and goal, but from the 23-yard line. Arnett off his back foot, tipped ball, incomplete. He threw it behind Dupree.
Just another nice play design where they were just trying to sneak the tight end out, Logan Dupree, or Lakota Dupree, on like a delayed release, and had he caught that football, he would have to beat the safety Dylan Thieneman one-on-one. But they could have picked up a big chunk of yardage again. Now here we got 3rd and goal. This crowd really getting amped up. No negative plays, no sacks. At the very least, you got to come out of this with 3.
Play clock winding down. And Knight goes down. He bounced off Amari Washington and actually kept the play alive for a yard or 2. But penalties when you're set up 1st and goal at the 10, a killer for James Madison.
It sure is. And you cannot turn loose a guy like Amari Washington and not block him. You can't allow him to come upfield and play 2 yards on your side of the line of scrimmage. As we mentioned, him and Bear Alexander, number 1, they will wreck your football team from inside out as far as the run game is concerned.
Morgan Suarez connected from 30 on his first attempt. This from 40, and you can see the percentage drops significantly. Tipped ball at the line. So James Madison comes away empty.
It looks like it was big number 99, Terrence Green, all 6'5" of them. You're going to see him in the middle of your screen. Number 99. He's getting the big hands up in the air and just turning away James Madison.
Redshirt freshman Tion Gray ran off the field celebrating with Terrence Green. It was either 99 or 50 that tipped the ball. It looked like Terrence Green was trying to steal his thunder a bit, but it was Tion Gray that got a fingertip on the field goal attempt.
They both are 6'5 plus, and you know what? You can give it to both of them. It's great work by the interior of the field goal block unit.
So James Madison gets all the way to the 10-yard line and does not score. And now their defense needs a stop, as Oregon has gone right down the field for touchdowns easily, and now Dante Moore back to throw. He wants it all again. That's underthrown and incomplete. Flag out. Malik Benson, the intended receiver. And the underthrown ball creates pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense, number 7. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
It's one of the most difficult things for a defensive back to do is when he's trying to catch up and get back in phase on the underthrown ball, is to slow his momentum down, not interfere with the receiver and get called for a penalty like this that just lets the offense off the hook, because that was a ball that seemed to just get away from Dante Moore. He wasn't able to get a lot on it. Now you got a fresh set of downs against an offense that's just been lighting it up so far.
Slant. Corian Moore back in the lineup after a 4-game absence. Makes his first catch. Let's go down to Chris.
You guys briefly mentioned it, but if Dante Moore decides to put his name in the draft this year, he's projected to hear his name early. He has not decided if he will do that. He's going to wait till the end of their season. But he did make a point to tell us yesterday, if I do, I will only be 20 years old. And how will that influence of him starting as a 17-year-old at UCLA weigh into that? All of that is going on in his mind, but he is going to wait until the end of this season.
Hand off here to Jordan Davison. How about the maturity, though, of a young man to realize I'm only 20 years old. Maybe I'm not ready. That will all factor in, but he showed that maturity, Lewis. He originally committed to Oregon, went to UCLA because Kenny Dillingham left to go to Arizona State, so he wasn't totally sure about Will Stein yet. So when he decided to transfer, came back to Oregon, but took a voluntary redshirt year, basically knowing Dylan Gabriel was going to be the quarterback. How many quarterbacks would do that?
Not very many at all, and it has paid dividends for him, because as you can tell just by his body language and way in which he executes this offense, he's in control.
Pitch to De'Aaron Hill, gets the edge, stays in bounds, touchdown.
See the explosiveness of this offense. De'Aaron Hill, another one of those fantastic freshmen at running back between him and Jordan Davison. And Jordan Davison was the one who was the lead blocker for De'Aaron Hill. Just textbook execution in the run game.
A 4-play touchdown drive, followed by a 5-play touchdown drive, followed now by a 3-play touchdown drive.
You're just going to get a pin and a pull, a lead. De'Aaron Hill just follows it in, and you're just going to see it here. Just watch the All-American tight end Kenyon Sadiq. You're going to see the left tackle, number 76, Isaiah World, just hat on a hat, and then it's just off to the races. Just stretch out those hamstrings and run, young man. This offense just looks unstoppable. And this Oregon offense has just been hitting on all cylinders. You see Dante Moore early in the football game hitting Jamari Johnson down the seam. And then here on the zone read, Dante gets out on the perimeter and makes the perfect decision. And then these fantastic freshman running backs, this time it's De'Aaron Hill, who just gets out on the perimeter, and who springs him but his freshman counterpart Jordan Davison. These two young running backs in combination with Noah Whittington are just unbelievable. And just look at these statistics, you know, as far as the graphic we have up here on the screen. First 3 drives, all TDs. Dante Moore's has been absolutely perfect throwing the football. 5 for 5 for 104 yards.
Oregon is averaging 17.2 yards per play on offense.
I mean, it's just unbelievable as far as how explosive this team really can be. And look, we talked about it at the top. They have stockpiled talent here. When you think of the two running backs that we've seen so far, when you look at Jordan Davison and De'Aaron Hill was a 4-star prospect and #1 running back coming out of the state of Illinois this past year. Jordan Davison was a 4-star prospect and #1 running back out of the state of California. That's how they built this football team. They have got talent all across the board. They're well coached and they're hungry. This is a very well-connected football team that really plays hard for one another, and that's a heck of a combination.
By the way, they get DeCorian Moore back tonight. He's the #1 receiver in America as a recruit, according to our ESPN recruiting guys. So that is some type of freshman talent to surround still a young quarterback.
Right.
It might end up being the #1 pick in the draft, but Dante Moore has a chance to come back and play again next year. Look at the guys he would have a chance to play with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Dante will make the right decision. I have total faith in that. You could just feel the composure as he sat across the table from us yesterday and explained, how this football team has grown throughout this season. But right now, if you're JMU and you're Alonzo Barnett, you have got to find a way to get in the end zone, not settle for threes.
And that one sails out of bounds over the head of Jalen Sanchez. So now it's 3rd down and 9. And James Madison with only 3 points on the board. They've done some really good things on offense here in the first half, but getting to the red zone, having to kick a field goal, getting to the 10-yard line, committing 2 penalties, and they just can't match Oregon score for score.
Yeah. 6s over 3s all the time. That's what it's got to be, and the defense has got to find a way to settle down, play assignment football, to slow down this high-powered attack.
And now 3rd and 9 gets longer.
Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
So the left tackle, Joseph Simmons, commits the 4th James Madison penalty. Easy to have a false start in this building.
It sure is. I mean, it is deafening in here. It's just such a great environment. These players just feed off of it. And now this pass rush can really tee off and pin their ears back.
Four-man rush. Barnett from a clean pocket takes a shot up the seam, but overthrows Wisłowski. So it will be 4th and long, down to Chris.
Give you a sense of just how loud it is in here. The decibel reader is reading consistently right around 100, as high as 108, which would be trying to communicate with a subway train coming back and forth.
Hard to simulate even in practice. No matter how loud you make the speakers, you still have 58,000 bearing down on you. First punt for James Madison. Malik Benson took one back 85 yards for a touchdown against USC, but a fair catch here. Well, get ready for outdoor hockey in Florida. The NHL Winter Classic visits Miami. It's the Rangers taking on the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers, January 2nd at 7 Eastern on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max.
If your defensive coordinator, Colin Hitchler, and James Madison, and the leaders on this James Madison defense, like Trent Hendrick, like Jacob Thomas, you've got to find a way to make a play to get off the field and give your offense a little bit more time out on the football field. You just see it here on the right side of your screen. I mean, that is just not the kind of drive chart that you want to have against a team like this. Otherwise, you have no shot.
Kenyon Sadiq has got the touch. He grinds out 3 hard-working yards.
But Kenyon Sadiq, fantastic prospect in his own right. He will hear his name called very soon in the NFL draft this spring.
Moore, whole shot to the sideline. Jeremiah McClellan reaches back to make a terrific catch right in midfield for a first down.
Early on the field is the catch for a first down.
Davison. Down the sideline again. Into the red zone. Jacob Thomas brought down Jordan Davison, but not before he picked up 30 yards. Another explosion play for the Oregon offense.
It's just the blocking on the perimeter. This time it's right tackle Alex Harkey, number 71, and the All-American Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end who can rip you catching the ball down the field, and just a great open field blocker.
Play action for Dante Moore. Floats one to a one-on-one. Backing up McClellan. Did he haul it in? Yes! That's another Oregon touchdown. There is a flag down. Right over the top of DJ Barksdale.
Holding. Defense. Number 7. Penalties applied. Resulting play is a touchdown.
You're going to see Jeremiah McClellan just run the out and up on the nickelback DJ Barksdale. And McClellan's able to fight through the hand fighting in the end zone and still track that football and bring it in. Both McClellan and Malik Benson have played some fantastic football in the absence of guys like DeCorian Moore, Gary Bryant Jr., Evan Stewart. They have really picked up the slack and developed a great rapport with Dante Moore, and they haven't skipped a beat. And there you see the fruits of all the labor and hard work that they have put in. It just continues to show on the football field.
4 possessions, 16 total plays, and 4 touchdowns.
There you see it. Dante Moore just lays it up there. Jeremiah McClellan, those 50-50 ball situations in the end zone. Doesn't get any better than that.
Welcome back to the College Football Playoff first round presented by Allstate. Autzen Stadium has been rocking, and why not? Boy, you make a quick trip to the concession stand and you miss an Oregon touchdown.
It's just amazing the explosive capabilities of this offense. And look, I know there are going to people go, well, let's just look at the level of competition. We know that they really right now are going up against an outmanned JMU football team, and I get it. Oregon is stocked. We talked about it in the open, the number of 4 and 5 stars that they have stockpiled here. But still, the execution has just been on point. Jordan Davison, you see him here, the blocking out on the edge, how he can just get free and get out in the clear space. And then the dime from Dante Moore to Jeremiah McClellan, the redshirt sophomore, rather the redshirt freshman, who's just really picked up the slack in the absence of some of the other wide receivers that have been injured. And tonight, I mean, they are just off to a blistering pace. Already 27 points in the game. And just do not look like they can be stopped.
Wayne Knight not finding any room. Loses a half yard. Well, simulating in practice, the crowd noise, that's one thing. How would you ever, if you're James Madison, simulate the speed that you're faced with today?
That's the number one thing when you're trying to prepare for an opponent, whether it be offensively or defensively, that you can't simulate with your scout teams unless you've got a bunch of 4 and 5 stars that can run like these guys can run.
Oregon can simulate that.
That's the number one thing that overwhelms a football team in this kind of situation more than anything. It's speed. Uncoachable speed. And from up here in this TV booth, I can feel it. I can feel the tempo and the pace with which Oregon can threaten you and get on the perimeter from up here. I can only imagine what JMU's defense is feeling down there on the field.
Third down and 10. Oregon jumped. There was a reaction from the James Madison offensive line, but it looks like
false start.
They'll be called for a false
offense.
start.
Number 55. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
You see the right guard, Riley Robel. As Amari Washington tries to jump the snap counter, accidentally jumps the snap counter. Robel just can't sit in there.
pressure off the edge. A one-on-one to the sideline. And an excellent catch made by Landon Ellis. And he got a foot down for a first down. On 3rd down and 15, Barnett finds Ellis over Naeem Offord.
And that's something that Landon Ellis at 6'2", 213 pounds, a transfer from Richmond, has done all season long. He is a guy who's got a great catch radius, runs nice routes. And these freshman corners for Oregon, I know that this game right now seems to be kind of one-sided, but these freshman corners have had some issues over the past couple of weeks, and I know JMU wants to try and test them on the perimeter.
Getting tripped up running that route was Nick DeGennaro. So the ball floated to no man's land for Alonzo Barnett. He was throwing to a spot. DeGennaro just wasn't there.
He got knocked down by Dylan Thieneman, who just gave him a little bit of a nudge as he was trying to run that deep over.
The officials are talking it over.
He was downfield.
And it looks like they have called a procedure penalty after all of that against James Madison.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5 or more players in the backfield. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
It was a long conversation to arrive at an illegal formation penalty, but again, it costs the Dukes 5 to make it 1st and 15. Bob Wischusen, Lewis Riddick, Chris Budden, and Stormy Bonantoni. The final game of the 1st round of the college football playoff to see who will take on Texas Tech in South Florida. And right now, it looks like it'll be Oregon.
Correction, there is no foul for illegal formation. It's second down, excuse me.
And so now they talk it over again, pick the flag up. The down counts, though, without the penalty flag being thrown, so the incompletion makes it 2nd down and 10. And this also, Lewis, has to be tough for James Madison because it takes them out of their game plan. They wanted to run the ball to try and control the clock, and now it's hard to lean on your run game down 27-3.
Yeah, it makes them quite one-dimensional in this hostile environment, which is exactly where they didn't want to be.
So quarterback run here for Alonzo Barnett. He gets a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
The fact is, they're going to have to take some chances now, Bob. They're going to have to try and test these young corners like they did already, going up against Offord with Landon Ellis, trying to challenge him down the field in one-on-one situations. Look, Alonzo Barnett has to understand, look, this game has changed. Offensive coordinator Dean Kennedy, you're going to have to call it a little bit different now. You're going to have to try and push this ball down the field. You're going to have to try and get back in this game.
Play clock winding down. Barnett gets it off. Blitz coming. Zings one to the sideline. Incomplete. Ellis couldn't hold on. So now it'll be 4th down and 8 as Dylan Thieneman was all over Landon Ellis to the sideline.
That's a great job by Thieneman. One-on-one against Landon Ellis, maybe the most dangerous receiver they have on their roster. As you see him there, just staying in his back pedal, reading the route, getting a good break on it, and challenging him at the catch point. Dylan Thieneman was fun to talk to. He said, look, he wanted to come to Oregon. He transferred from Purdue because he wanted to take his game to another level. He's had a great year.
Malik Benson lets it bounce, and it reaches the end zone for a touchback. So Oregon back to the offense. They've been perfect so far. Texas Tech awaits in the Capital One Orange Bowl. And boy, find a bad matchup in the next round. Hard to.
There's just some heavyweights right there, some great matchups. How about Miami pulling that game out down in College Station today, going up against Ohio State, that has been a nemesis for them in their history. Just 2 storied programs, Ole Miss and Georgia. Ole Miss gets another shot at Georgia, who they had on the ropes during the regular season. Alabama and Indiana. The Heisman Trophy winner gets to make his debut here in this year's version of the playoffs, and I mean, it's just big game after big game. And right now it's looking like if this score holds, the way this game holds, Oregon down there in the Orange Bowl against Texas Tech.
And Mike Elko and Mario Cristobal, two of the great people in college football. Hard to root for one and against the other. As this handoff again, blasting into the secondary. As De'Aaron Hill looks like he has another first down for Oregon. But I really felt great for Miami and for Coach Cristobal, because they had to sweat it out all the way to the end of the season to see if they even earned a spot in the college football playoff, and to go on the road in that atmosphere and win that kind of game. That was really impressive. Dante Moore floats one to the sideline. Cooper Perry was tripped up. He lost his footing, so no one home. That's the first incompletion for Dante Moore. He's now 8 of 9 for 137 yards.
You didn't see just why Colin Hitchler has decided to kind of like empty the bag a little bit. Just trying to hit Cooper Perry on that out route and just loses his footing. There you see the defensive coordinator, Colin Hitchler. He's going to have to take some chances to try and disrupt Dante Moore and throw him off rhythm. Because right now he's been able to do everything that he's wanted to do as far as the passing game is concerned.
Wide open, reaching back to make the catch is Sadiq. What an adjustment by Kenyon Sadiq.
Rolling on the field as he catch for a first down.
Let's look at Sadiq just get his body around and orient it, gets his feet down, able to secure the football and not have it move as he hits the ground. Just running that little wheel route up the sideline.
Davison breaking tackles. He's across midfield, the ball popped out. James Madison thinks they've got a takeaway.
I think this ball was coming out. You see the All-American Trent Hendrick came from behind and punched that ball out. You see it right here. Right arm comes down. See, is that knee on the ground before it comes out? Looks like the knee is down now. He's going to be down.
Well, it looked like Emmanuel Pregnon recovered the fumble anyway. So second down and 2. And that's a situation where replay doesn't even need or feel the need to get involved when the fumble was already recovered by Oregon. More off play action. A deep shot to the end zone. Drops it right down the chimney to Malik Benson. Another Oregon touchdown.
It's my shit, let's go. Get me right.
Malik Benson declares his intentions right at the snap. He is going downtown. He does not break stride at all. He tries to square the corner up and then just kind of fades to the sideline on this 9 route and just hits the gas. And that was one of the things that the James Madison coaching staff was worried about. Do they have the speed on the perimeter to match up this track team that Oregon has at the wide receiver position?
And they give Gage Herrick a chance to kick the point after. 5 touchdowns by 5 different players.
And just watch Malik Benson come off the line of scrimmage and try and square up the corner and then just turn on the jets. And Justin Eaglin just does not have the foot speed and is not able to get out of his pedal and turn and go fast enough. You have to know your competition and know when this young man comes off the line of scrimmage like that and basically has his head down and is just trying to gain ground. You better get out of your pedal and you better turn, especially if you don't have the foot speed to match. Dante Moore just continues to put on a show. He just drops it right in the bucket. This wide receiver core is just amazing here at Oregon. Some of their very best players.
Malik Benson is one of those players that thought his collegiate career was over when he was playing at Florida State, but he benefited from that Diego Pavia lawsuit. The quarterback from Vanderbilt sued the NCAA to try and get additional eligibility to make junior college years not count towards your eligibility, and everyone that went to junior college in some way, shape, or form was granted an extra year. Yeah. Malik Benson began his career at Hutchinson Community College. He got a year back, and here he is at Oregon, lighting it up. A return for Curtis Lopez. Somersaulted out of bounds at the 24-yard line. So Theron Johnson, who was in on that tackle, down on one knee.
Timeout on the field for a player injury.
Touchdowns on 5 drives for the Ducks by 5 different players. And Lewis, they have not had a drive take more than 5 plays offensively yet. So, as you said, for James Madison, it just looks like their defense is overwhelmed by the athleticism, and you can't teach speed.
Yeah. It's the pace and the tempo with which they run their plays. And then just the overall athleticism. When you have that many 4- and 5-stars on your roster, again, in the 4 recruiting cycles since Dan Lanning came here, you have 85 4-stars.
Is that good?
And 5 5-stars. I mean, eventually, if you coach them up and they have, you know, the kind of like intrinsic motivation to get better and really become good teammates, which is something they stress around here and something that they're very proud of, this is the kind of result that you can have. Now, again, we understand that the level of competition may not be what necessarily is something that people really, you know, respect as far as what James Madison can bring to the table against a team as high-powered as Oregon. But the execution that Oregon is showing here tonight is exactly what Dan Lanning wanted to see.
Slant thrown slightly behind Jaylon Sanchez, but he made a nice adjustment and picks up 8.5 on first down.
JMU is going to have to work with urgency and get some chunk plays of their own. Alonzo Barnett is just going to have to be on it. He has to understand what the circumstances of this football game is. And it's going to largely become a drop-back type of game for him, and he's going to have to distribute this football and find a way to somehow get this ball in the end zone and stop the bleeding.
Bouncing it outside, flag down. It looked like he may have had his face mask grabbed. Blake Purchase was out there. In pursuit, Dalen Austin as well for the Ducks, but Wayne Knight, I think, had a hand on the face mask.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 9. 15 yards will be out to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Blake Purchase didn't get the face mask much, but it was enough.
Yeah, you see him. He's trying to disengage on the end of the line of scrimmage and get a hand on Wayne Knight.
That 15-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot. First down.
That's the first Oregon penalty. You think about James Madison as well. To put in perspective, them being in the college football playoff, 5 years ago, they were playing FCS football. This is only the 2nd year that they were even eligible to play in their own conference championship game. And they win the Sun Belt, make it to the college football playoff top 25, ranked 24th overall. A fake by Barnett. Sidearms one tipped and almost intercepted. Jericho Johnson. That close to a pick.
And Jericho Johnson just lining up over the nose. Big number 77. Just watch him here. Watch him rush and then drop back and then get his hands up. You're going to see him here. He smells that something is up, and while he is trying to hold off the offensive lineman and find the football, he almost comes up with one of the big man plays of the game. He would have been off to the races.
Really nice fake. And Tuioti was able to make the stop on Barnett. And now hopping off the field is Landon Ellis. And he is in a lot of pain. Looks like his left leg banged up on that last play. 9-yard gain to make it 3rd down and 1.
You just got to keep the momentum going. You've got to pick up this 1st down. You got 2:42 and counting here left in the half. Just figure out a way to get a fresh set of downs.
And they'll line up in a wildcat formation. Looks like Joby Mallory takes the high direct snap. And he is close to the 1st down. Looks like the near side official may be marking him a half-yard short. As Tatum Tuioti in on another tackle.
You just see the power that the Oregon defensive front has, the size that they have up front. They're now starting to control the point of attack against this JMU offensive line. And the running backs just cannot find any seams to try and exploit.
They did give an offensive 1st down to James Madison, but speaking of offense, it's been all Oregon here in the 1st half. They've scored a touchdown on every possession. What a performance. So
studio, Mercedes-Benz halftime report minutes away. We'll take you inside the Ole Miss locker room after a dominating playoff win. Miami hangs on the road. Highlights coming your way so far. 5 drives, 5 touchdowns. What are you seeing from the Ducks?
The Ducks have been dominant. I could give you a whole lot of analysis, but it's one team is really good and the other one is not.
Well, one team's been dominant.
Hey, big guy, no.
Bob Lewis, back to you.
All right, Kevin, thanks very much. And again, congratulations to Pete Golding and Ole Miss.
Absolutely.
Boy, what a circus they have had to endure over the last month. And to win their college football playoff opener and move on to next week. Really impressive. Slant, and reaching out was Jalen Sanchez. Couldn't haul that in. And the consistency as well for this Oregon team. Will Stein, he's the next head coach at Kentucky. Tosh Lupoy, the next head coach at his alma mater in Cal. So you've got your offensive and defensive play callers. They are both not only concentrating on the Ducks, but also getting ready for their next stop. And yet Dan Lanning wanted the continuity of his coaching staff to stay put, and it seems to be paying off. There's a look at Tosh Lupoy.
And both of those men really talked about the challenges of staying locked in here and trying to build programs at the places they're going to eventually occupy a spot as the head coach.
Wayne Knight, like forward progress, got him to about the 40-yard line. Then he bounced backwards. Mateo Uyunglele.
Timeout.
And Dalen Austin on the stop. Oregon's going to call a timeout here.
30 seconds in length.
To try and save some time for their offense. And Lewis, that means if they get the ball back, one more chance for Dante Moore before halftime. He's 10 of 11 in the 1st half.
Yeah, this is a young man who came into this game 16th in FBS and QBR, number 3 in completion percentage, and number 7 in throws like this, plus 20-yard explosive completions. And here's just the decision-making on the zone read. He's going to show you a little bit of his athleticism, not necessarily known as a runner, but has plenty of juice, plenty of legs to make big plays on the perimeter. And then the out and up to Jeremiah McClellan. He just puts it right where it needs to be. And then the go ball just down the field to Malik Benson, who just runs by the corner, Justin Eaglin. I mean, that's about as good of a stat line as you can possibly have right here. I mean, just a clean football game in total command, total domination.
They did not give Wayne Knight any progress, so it's a full 3rd down and 10. Swing pass to Wislowski, and he is brought down by Thieneman. Behind the line of scrimmage by 2 yards. Another timeout called by Oregon.
It's just a great play by Dylan Thieneman, 2nd-team All-American this year, to transfer from Purdue.
Their second of the half.
You got the chance to speak with him and Bryce Betcher as you take a look at Dan Lanning. And Thieneman, I mean, he's just got such a sweet role in this defense. They use him in just multiple different ways. Quite honestly, they interchange him and Bryce Betcher, where both of these guys get a chance to play about a kind of hybrid robber type of position, about 8 to 9 yards deep in the middle of the formation.
Which made Louis Riddick jealous when he heard about it.
Because it's basically just read the quarterback, use your instincts, run to the football, because you're covered, you know, by the front and by the secondary behind you, and it's too high scheme. You're covered. You have a lot of safety. It just kind of frees you up to make plays, and Thieneman has just great instincts, open field tackling ability like you saw right there. These guys just all seem to have a lot of fun playing out here.
Coach Belichick and Coach Saban didn't let you do that in Cleveland?
No, absolutely not. We were a little bit more structured, but I'll tell you what, maybe what I should have done was listen to the late, great Al Davis and move to linebacker when he kind of approached me about it. But Dylan Thieneman is just a fantastic player.
Patrick Gray to punt again. And Gary Bryant Jr. back off the injured list. Deep to receive. Fair catch at the 15-yard line. Now, talking to Dan Lanning about Dante Moore, he told us the story how basically he said to Dante, your decision making is helping me keep guys out of the portal because you are so good at going through all 5 progressions and making sure that all of the guys on your offense get an opportunity and the ball gets delivered to the right guy on time, and that creates, it seems, just an overall camaraderie among this offense where everyone is happy for everyone else's success.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And one of the ways in which you can really measure that when you're talking about the skill players in particular is just look what they do when they are not the primary receiving targets or on run plays. All these wide receivers and the tight ends in particular, Jamari Johnson, Kenyon Sadiq, they're great blockers. They play with great competitive effort, whether they are at the point of attack or getting the football or not.
A floater over the middle, and Noah Whittington has a first down.
And they talked about the fact that this team is very connected. They're very closely knit. They all hang out together outside of the football facility. They're good friends. And they just care about helping one another elevate their games. And you can just see it out here on the football field tonight.
More on a rollout. Another one-on-one down the sideline. Flag out, and an incredible catch by Jeremiah McClellan. I think they gave him the reception, and he is injured as he went down hard. Justin Eaglin was there in coverage. Did he hold on and get a foot down?
Pass interference, defense, number 30, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
The ball just rolled out of his hands as he hit the turf, so the pass interference penalty will be enforced, but that was about as close as you can come to a highlight reel catch for Jeremiah McClellan. Hopefully just the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, he landed
on the landing.
It landed awkwardly on his left hip on his left side. But they have really attacked Justin Eaglin, someone who James Madison was worried a little bit about as far as his pure foot speed and raw top end speed against these dynamic wide receivers from Oregon. And you can see Dante Moore has him clearly in his sights and continues to challenge him down the field again and again and again.
Here comes a blitz. A quick check down intended for Whittington. It's knocked away by Trent Hendrick. And there's a team captain if there ever was one. Now, Bob Chesney told us the story that back in camp and in the offseason, they created amongst teammates units where everything was a competition, right? In the weight room and just everything that they did. Trent Hendrick's team was so far ahead of every other team that he actually considered moving Hendrick to a different team because he was the captain of his group, constantly texting them. Just a leader in every sense of the word. Slant incomplete. Check that. It looks like it stayed in the hands of Elijah Culp for an interception and a flag thrown after the play is over. Malik Benson, the intended receiver. And Elijah Culp, as things stand now, has a pick.
And Malik Benson just running a little bit of a now route or a slant route, just trying to come inside and collides with Trent Hendrick and goes down. And Elijah Culp benefits with the ball coming right to him.
The resulting play is an interception. During the interception return, the illegal block in the back, intercepting team, number 32. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It's first down, James Madison.
You're going to see Malik Benson collide with Trent Hendrick as he's trying to get out to the flat and get underneath that slant route. And Elijah Culp is just standing there, ball comes right to him, then he's off to the races.
That ball hit the arm of Malik Benson and just caromed up into the hands of Elijah Culp. Right there, it hits the left hand of Malik Benson. Culp gets the fortunate bounce, and that's the first stop for the James Madison defense.
You can take them however you can get them. Now James Madison just has to find a way to do something with this opportunity and try and get some points on the board. They're not going to lay down. This is a team that has a lot of competitive character, very prideful.
They've got all 3 timeouts and a minute on the clock. And the out to the near side. And it's good to see that Landon Ellis was able to shake off that leg injury that had him hopping off the field at the end of the last possession. So he gets back out there, makes a 9-yard catch. This James Madison team has won 11 in a row. The only team in college football that has a longer active win streak than that is Indiana. And they're the 1 seed, number 1 team in America. First down catch made to about the 41-yard line by DeGennaro. Stops the clock for the moment with 51 seconds. So it allows James Madison to get lined up, not spend their timeouts.
You see Oregon, one of the best football teams in college football as far as preventing explosive plays. They like to sit in that too high structure and force you to check it down underneath.
Well, they brought a blitz, did Oregon. And Alonzo Barnett throws to Wayne Knight right behind it for a gain of 8.
Oregon forces you to remain patient. They understand the teams don't like to go the long way. They don't like to have to matriculate the ball down the field 8, 10, 12, 14 play drives. The chances of them doing something to mess it up are in their favor. But James Madison's going to have to take some chances here. Challenge these corners one-on-one outside.
That's exactly what Barnett wants to do here. Overthrows Landon Ellis at the goal line.
Again, Landon Ellis averaging just under 17 yards per reception, going up against the freshman, number 4, Brandon Finney. He has a step on him. There you can just see the length of Brandon Finney at 6'2", 203 pounds as he puts that right arm up to try and deflect the pass and try and get a hand on it. It's another one of those ideal body types that they recruit out here. Brandon Finney is going to be a fantastic player as he continues to develop.
Wayne Knight takes the direct snap. And he's got the first down. Tackle made by Bear Alexander. The clock starts, but it looks like now a timeout will be called by Bob Chesney. So they lost a few seconds.
James Madison.
And Oregon has exploded offensively here in the first half.
Again, it's been the Dante Moore show. Just like we would have expected coming into this. And then just the fantastic freshman, De'Aaron Hill, just showing you his game-breaking speed when he's able to get to the second and third level. And Dante Moore, I'm sure there's a lot of NFL scouts and general managers going, please come out. Please declare for the draft. If you're going to throw these 9 routes and these deep balls like this, you would look real good in some of the NFL uniforms of the teams that need quarterbacks. And Bob, I know, I can feel you looking at me.
He's wearing green right now.
It's a different kind of green than the one you'd like to see him in.
I would take it.
But he is a fantastic player. And I think one of the things that NFL teams are going to love about him when they get a chance to talk to him, whether that be in this draft cycle or the next, is just how composed he is when you're talking to him, and how his teammates really seem to just love his emotional intelligence, as the coaching staff explained to us.
Barnett double clutches and floats that one out of bounds, but a flag out. Ife Obidegu was up against the sideline in coverage for the Ducks. Jaden Kennedy there as well.
The wide receiver went out of bounds, came back into bounds, and reestablished. Pass interference, defense, number 7, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Obidegu is called for pass interference on Sanchez.
You see he has his arm around the back of the wide receiver, Jalen Sanchez, after he did reestablish himself back in bounds. And whenever a defensive back has his back turned to the quarterback, referees are going to be predisposed to go ahead and throw the flag, especially when you're bear hugging the wide receiver down the field.
I think Oregon sideline wanted an uncatchable ball possibly called there as well. But it's a red zone chance now for James Madison. Dive by Landon Ellis coming out of his break. So it will be 2nd down and 10 at the 15-yard line. Still 20 seconds and 2 timeouts for James Madison.
Landon Ellis has been one of the go-to guys down here inside the 20 for James Madison. Doesn't seem like he's 100% though right now at this point in time. Maybe Nick DeGennaro, number 11, who's got great speed, great body twitch and quickness, runs good routes. Maybe they can get the ball to him, see if they can get him in a one-on-one situation.
Again, Oregon brings a blitz, and this play blown dead. False start.
False start, offense, number 79, 5-yard penalty, it's still 2nd down. Please reset the game clock to 20 seconds.
Tosh Lupo is not letting up. He's bringing blitzes, and this crowd, despite the score being 34-3 here at Autzen, they never let up. So you've got all that green and yellow crowding the tackle box. You know the rush is coming, and it's hard to communicate. Just always loud in this building. One of the great crowds in all of college sports.
The previous play, you could tell they were going to try and get DeGennaro one-on-one, maybe on a slot fade concept to the top of the screen.
There comes the blitz again. There is the one-on-one. Incomplete.
And this time they moved him down to the bottom of the screen. Number 11, DeGennaro, going up against Obidegu, who just plays tremendous press coverage. Stays square at the line of scrimmage, jams him coming off the ball. This time you see he has his head back to the ball as he's fading the wide receiver to the boundary. That's his textbook coverage. Obidegu, 6'1", 203 pounds, another youngster, redshirt freshman. They've just got a lot of young, ideal body types to work with out here in Eugene.
4-man rush on 3rd down. Barnett slings one into the end zone, incomplete. Kozlowski, the intended receiver. So now it'll be 4th down and 15 from the 20-yard line.
Now just trying to attack this cover 4 scheme, trying to wrap this ball in here right around the linebacker, number 54, Jerry Mixon. Gets his hands on it. Just can't quite pull it in. Kozlowski making a diving attempt.
Well, the play clock's winding down. I think Alonzo Barnett wants to call a timeout as they line up to go for it on 4th and 15. They have to call a timeout, or they'll take a delay of game penalty, and finally the timeout is taken.
Timeout, James Madison. Their 2nd of the half. 30 seconds of length.
So the Oregon Ducks seem well on their way to taking on Texas Tech at a 4-5 matchup in the Capital One Orange Bowl. That will start the day in the quarterfinals at noon on New Year's Day. Alabama, Indiana will follow in the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential. And the Allstate Sugar Bowl caps New Year's Day. Ole Miss and Georgia, an old school SEC matchup. And we'll start things off New Year's Eve. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Miami won a slugfest against Texas A&M, and they earned the right to take on Ohio State.
Just some big-time matchups in the next round of the playoffs.
So we'll see what happens with the 4 teams that get the byes. Last year, none of those teams had success, and that was something that Dan Lanning and Tosh Lupoy both mentioned to us, that they were happy that Oregon ended up not getting a first-round bye. They thought it would benefit them to stay in a rhythm and play a game tonight. So after the timeout, Morgan Suarez lines up, and a timeout called by Oregon.
Their final of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Well, in the BCS and the college football playoff, Oregon, well, they got all the way to the national championship game in 2010, losing to Auburn, and they just keep running into Ohio State. Defeated Florida State in the semifinals, but lost to the Buckeyes in the national championship game in 2014. And last year, they won the Big Ten championship game, but then met Ohio State in the quarters as the 1 seed and would go down. What will be their fate this year? Can they keep this offense rolling through the rest of the playoff the way it looks tonight? So after the timeout, 38 yards on the way for Suarez. And good. So he had one tipped earlier. He's now 2 for 3. A blocked field goal, but a couple of makes for the left-footed kicker, Morgan Suarez.
If you're JMU, you have just got to continue to try and execute, continue to try and get stops defensively, continue to try and pick up first downs, hunt for the explosive plays offensively, and see if there's any way, shape, or form you can crawl back into this football game and make it competitive. We understand you're really ice skating uphill against this football team right now in Oregon that is just loaded for bear, came out highly motivated, look as sharp as attack as far as their execution on offense, and defensively really settled in pretty quickly after a couple series where JMU had them on their heels. Tosh Lupoy was able to get his unit to kind of lock in on the basic things that JMU tries to do to you in the run game. And right now, the better players are starting to win out.
Whittington lets that one float over his head into the end zone for a touchback. We know that Oregon is an explosive offensive team. Obviously, when you're playing in the Big Ten, you're playing some big-time defenses, and still they were able to average over 38 points per game. They've just about hit that number here in the first half.
Yeah, we don't want to go ahead and project out that they'll put up another 34 in the second half. But yeah, this football team has looked, they've looked clean. They really have. They have been physical up front. You see the speed at the skill positions. We've talked extensively about Dante Moore and how much he is in control, and the defense has just settled in. It has been just a total domination on the part of the Oregon Ducks here for the first 30 minutes of this football game.
And for Dante Moore, 11 of 14, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and a touchdown on the ground. So 4 in all for Dante Moore. Let's go down to Chris.
Coach, those first 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns, how would you assess the job that your defense or offense has done so far?
Yeah, our offense has been really efficient. Obviously, we had the takeaway there at the end. We got to do a better job protecting the ball, but done a good job pushing the ball down the field.
Thank you, Coach. Stormy?
Coach Chesney, I know this is not a position your team has been in all year long. How How will you handle the message to your group coming back out?
They just got to do their jobs. We got to get off blocks. We got to be able to tackle. We got to make sure that we're holding our leverage, which we're not really doing. And then offensively, we're not in a bad spot. We got to stop killing ourselves with self-inflicted wounds.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
When this game was still close, a couple of penalties from the 10-yard line certainly hurt James Madison earlier in the first half. So Oregon 34-6 at halftime. It's time for the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Booger McFarland is back in the studio alongside Kevin Nagati. Fireworks fly here at Autzen. Moore to the pylon and in. Another Oregon touchdown. Play action for Dante Moore. Floats one to a one-on-one. Backing up McClellan. Did he haul it in? Yes. That's another Oregon touchdown. Welcome back to the College Football Playoff first round, presented by Allstate. A flawless first half for the Ducks here at Autzen. 34-6 Oregon over James Madison as we're set for the start of the third quarter. Here are the first half stats brought to you by Lilly. 7 drives, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns scored by Oregon the first 5 times they had the ball. They were as dominant as could be. Bob Wischusen here with Lewis Riddick, Chris Button, Stormy Bonantoni with us here in Eugene as well. You know, Tosh Lupoy, defensive coordinator for Oregon, said we were praying to not be a top 4 seed. We wanted to be a 5 seed. We wanted to play a game to stay in the groove. I don't think this could have worked out much better with this performance tonight for Oregon. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Tosh Lupoy, spoke for obviously the entire coaching staff that that's what they wanted. Dan Lanning kind of reiterated the fact, before he went in at the half, that he thinks that they're playing just right now very efficient football. And I think you're seeing that maybe that is the result of not having a long layoff, having a mock game here in this stadium to get prepared for this first round. And man, this is a football team that right now, if you really start projecting forward and assuming that this, result holds, that matchup against Texas Tech could be an absolute heavyweight. And this is a football team in Oregon itself that looks like right now it can play with anybody in the country and has to be considered one of the teams that could challenge for a national title for sure.
If we look forward to Oregon, Texas Tech, what do you think the over-under on that game will be? That'll be a high total.
Yeah, well,
that's 2 teams that can score.
They sure can, but at the same time, they can play some great defense.
That's true as well.
Right? I mean, Texas Tech's defense is as good as any in the country. They can absolutely just torture your pass rushers. I mean, your pass throwers, your quarterbacks, because of their pass rushers. It's going to be a great playoff overall, no matter what.
Oregon was a top 10 team, points against defensively this year as well.
That's right.
Down to Chris.
If you thought Dan Lanning was just going to be okay running the ball, letting the clock bleed out, that's not the case. He had his team out here warming up with 5 minutes left on the clock. That's way earlier than they usually do at a halftime, and 3 minutes earlier than JMU came out of the half. He said, I want to put our foot on the gas. When we get the ball back, we're going fast.
Well, there's a reason that you're trying to stay in a groove to get ready for the next game in the college football playoff. And I think that guy is in a groove right now. 4 total touchdowns accounted for in the first half. Dante Moore, 3 through the air, and he had 1 on the ground. So Alonzo Barnett back to work to start the third quarter. James Madison hoping to find the end zone. A crab crawl run up the middle for Wayne Knight. Down to Stormy.
And Bob, this is unfamiliar territory for this JMU team. They haven't been in this position all season long. And when I asked head coach Bob Chesney at halftime what he told his players down like this in the locker room, he said it was all about aggressiveness on both sides of the ball. We need to come out here and show we have some aggression. And remember yesterday we were talking to Coach Chesney. He said he wanted his team to leave this field with the feeling that they had no regrets, and they need to show that here.
Again, 5 years ago, they were FCS competition as Barnett follows a blocker, quarterback run for about 3 yards. So, I mean, there is something to be said, Lewis, for being the Sun Belt champions and trying to continue to play as best you can tonight. You're trying to build a culture. You're trying to build that program. And Bob Chesney, is going to leave behind a heck of a team as he heads to UCLA.
Yeah, they definitely have already established a culture here.
And Billy Napier will be on the sideline next year to keep it going.
Yeah, you're right. And the question is, how many of the players stay here? How many follow you know, Bob Chesney to UCLA. How many want to go ahead and try and level up and play a higher level of competition? And do they have to rebuild this roster yet again for the 3rd season in a row?
Barnett underneath on 3rd down. It's broken up. Wislowski met by Jerry Mixon. So it'll be a punt for James Madison.
I mean, think about when Kurt Zanetti left JMU and went to Indiana. He took a whole group of players with him, and Bob Chesney had to bring in like 65-something recruits, 65-something new players, and had to do it again this year. Now he's leaving. He's going to take some players. That's kind of the price of doing business as a group of 5 team, as a team like JMU. That's your roster's going to turn over and over and over.
They'll fake the punt. And spinning is Dupree for a 1st down and more.
There you go.
So they pull out the trick play on the fake punt, and Lakota Dupree picks up 16 yards.
See, really, it's just a direct snap right to Dakota, and he just takes it up the middle, kind of like a zone blocking type of scheme, and hits the spin move and continues to fight for extra yardage. And that's the kind of aggression, obviously, that Bob Chesney is talking about. We're going to pull out all the stops. No regrets. Don't leave anything on the call sheet. Let's try and get some points on the board.
Empty backfield as Ayo Adei splits out as a wide receiver and now goes in motion. Backwards pass. It looked like DeGennaro for a second was thinking about throwing the football. It wasn't there, so he scampers. Bryce Betcher chased him to the sideline. It's a gain of 5, but looked like he wanted to go airborne.
Yeah, he was looking for Lakota Dupree, running a little 7 route, a little flag route down the field, but the Oregon safeties playing with great depth, great eyes. They weren't having it.
And now Wayne Knight back into the right of Barnett. Wide open, button hook to the sideline. DeGennaro makes a man miss. He's trying to find the front row. Pylon makes a move into the end zone for a James Madison touchdown. Terrific catch and run by Nick DeGennaro, 47 yards. And a reason for the Dukes fans to celebrate.
See, Oregon ran a corner fire blitz, and as the safety rotated over the top, number 21, Aaron Flowers, he dismisses the open field tackle on Nick DeGennaro, who I believe is their fastest, most explosive wide receiver out in the open field. And there you saw the speed, the elusiveness, and the ability to hit explosive plays. That's exactly what JMU needed.
Super senior that began his career at Maryland, found his way to Richmond, and capping his career at James Madison with a touchdown in the college football playoff. And that's a memory that will last forever.
I mean,
good for him.
This nice execution on the part of JMU. Someone's going to have to make a play, make somebody miss in the open field. Get it to your most explosive guy, let him go to work. 34-13.
Want the latest on today's games? Just tell Siri, show me the college football scores.
So James Madison's Nick DeGennaro with his 5th touchdown of the season for JMU and the 21st overall in his college career. Little life down on the Duke sideline as they find the end zone for the first time. Bob Wischusen here with Louis Riddick. Down on the sidelines, Chris Button, Stormy Bonatoni. The final game of the college football playoff first round. And a knuckleball line drive kick. Fielded by one of the up men for Oregon out to about the 38-yard line goes Saliapaga. And let's take a look at the college football playoff bracket. The quarterfinals as Oregon, barring a real James Madison miracle, headed to South Florida to take on Texas Tech in the Capital One Orange Bowl. And how about the scene in the Ole Miss locker room today, Lewis? The game ball being presented to Pete Golding. The locker room goes crazy, and now they've got an SEC rematch game with Georgia in the All-State Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch. I mean, they just ran out of gas in that first matchup against Georgia. The defense in particular just kind of folded down the stretch. But man, the Ole Miss offense is just so nice to see Charlie White Jr. be able to come back and lead Trinidad Chambliss in that offense. They are as explosive as any offense in college football right now.
So Saliapaga, who was an up man who fielded that knuckleball kick and was granted the return out to about the 35-yard line, may have had his knee down when he fielded the ball. So they're going to head to replay just to see if maybe his knee was down further back towards the 20-yard line. Let's take a look and see if when he gets possession of the football, he has a knee down.
Clearly.
It looks pretty clear. So that'll put him back inside the 25-yard line. And that just means more real estate maybe for Dante Moore to be able to cover.
It does. See right there about the 24-yard line. Dan Lanning had his team out here warming up early to come out and start here this second half. I would expect this football team, once we're able to put this ball back in play.
After video review, the returner's knee was down at the 24-yard line with possession of the ball. It will be first down at the 24-yard line.
I think Dan Lanning, as you see him there on the screen, I mean, he is obviously determined to make sure that his football team stays sharp and stays locked in and stays focused regardless of what the scoreboard says. That's probably not the start to the second half he had envisioned. Let's see what Dante Moore's got.
Well, they're a top 10 scoring team, and tonight already making the 9th time in the last 13 games this season that Oregon has gone over 30 points in a game, and this is 34 of their last 41 that they have scored 30-plus points. The toss, Pierre Hill. He streaks out across the 30 to the 31-yard line, picks up 7. Bruce Pinagatti came over to make the tackle for JMU.
You see how quickly they're able to capture the edge and how their tight ends out on the perimeter, Saliapaga, Kenyon Sadiq, they just get on their guys and just start pushing and driving people and just create running lanes for these running backs to hit it downhill. I mean, it is like artwork out there.
Quick hit. Turning upfield. Getting out to the 47-yard line is Malik Benson, 16 more yards.
And you see how quickly, once he catches the ball, he turns into a runner. Feet hit the ground, and it is exploding upfield. I mean, that's coaching. That's something that obviously is emphasized on the practice field here, day in and day out. These guys play at a tempo that just jumps out at you when you watch them play.
Whittington across midfield. He's got 8. You know, Malik Benson also, talk about the ultimate teammate. I mean, he came here behind Gary Bryant, McClellan, and Evan Stewart, who got hurt back over the summer. He may be making a return in the not too distant future. And you know, Dan Lanning told us Malik Benson was a look team wide receiver when he first arrived. As Moore is going to take a shot. Guess who? Benson. Touchdown. Right on cue. So the guy that starts the year as a look team wide receiver and doesn't mind being on the scout team gets a chance to play with all the injuries. And boy, has he become an Oregon weapon. He does it again.
It's just poor eyes on the part of the corner, number 2, Elijah Culp. Well, actually, it's the safety that's out there, Tyler Brown. He's just in a position that he's not accustomed to being in, out there on the corner. And really all Malik Benson has to do is just run straight up the field. That's all he has to do. I mean, that's just not playing with good eye discipline, not playing with good fundamentals. And against this football team, what do you think is going to happen? You let these guys run down the field uncontested, Dante Moore is going to find them. You see, he just looks out to his left, keeps 2 hands on the football, so as a defensive back, you shouldn't be biting on any kind of pump fakes. That's just too easy for Oregon. They're going to embarrass you. You turn guys loose like that.
Bob Wischusen and Louis Riddick back with tonight's Capital One rewarding performance, Lou.
Yeah, we're going to start with this fantastic freshman, Pierre Hill. And just look at the acceleration once he gets out in the open field as measured by miles per hour. 23 miles per hour in a game.
Wow. Is that fast?
That is absolutely flying. And then here, Dante Moore just on the straight go route. Just hit your back foot and let it go. Malik Benson stacked the wide receiver, stacked the corner rather, and then just hit a second gear. Dante Moore just drops it right in on him. And then here, this is just a coverage bust. This is just poor fundamentals on the part of Tyler Brown and this JMU secondary. And Malik Benson is going, hey, I'll take another one of those. I'll take another explosive play. And this has just been very uncharacteristic of James Madison's defense all season long. They are now just making mistakes that are totally out of character for them, and they're going to pay the price for it on the scoreboard.
So Oregon with yet another touchdown. They scored on their first 5 drives of the game. And Dante Moore now with 5 total touchdowns tonight, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. That last touchdown, by the way, as Oregon continues to pile up the yards, their 5th play tonight of 40-plus yards. Now, one of your keys to the game were plays of 20-plus yards and being in that 5 to 7 range. Oregon's got 5 plays of 40.
I wanted them to hit 5 to 7 plus 20-yard plays where they're like, how about this? How about we'll double that in terms of yardage? But yeah, it just speaks to the talent level that these young men possess.
Another blitz. Barnett squeezes one down the sideline that Wazlowski can't hold in. It looks like we've got one of the offensive linemen down for the Dukes. That's Pat McMurtry, the right tackle.
25. Timeout on the field for a player injury.
He's the most experienced starter on this James Madison team up front, making his 56th career start tonight. So we'll check on McMurtry when we come back.
CFP linebackers coach Dave Plungus, the second from the left on your screen, is a pretty special guest in support tonight. His father, Pete, who this time last year, doctor said had just 6 months to live. He's beat every timeline put on him during his decade-long fight with prostate and bone cancer, but with the cancer getting more aggressive in recent weeks, wanted to make sure he could see his son coach one more time. Dave told me his dad had to get approval from 4 different doctors to make the trip from Cleveland to Eugene, and despite the challenges, the pain he's in right now, made it clear he wasn't missing this for the world, Bob.
That's amazing. Fathers and sons. And
yes, sir.
You think there was any of those doctors that were going to tell him
Absolutely
don't come?
Not.
No, he was coming. Tunnel screen. Getting a push from behind is Wazlowski. He picks up 5 yards. And what could possibly mean more to a father than to see his son have a chance to coach on a stage like this?
Yeah, look, obviously seeing your children execute their chosen profession, something that they love and something that they're passionate about, is something you don't want to miss out on. Any chance that you have to kind of view them at work, that's just something you're going to want to do. And hats off to the entire family, this entire situation.
Another blitz. Escape hatch closes for Barnett. Bear Alexander got there first. And he is spun down behind the line for a sack.
And here you're going to see Bear Alexander, who we haven't called his name a lot, just get the upfield charge and win on the outside edge of the right guard, and then just finish it off with the sack. I mean, him and Amari Washington, how far this Oregon football team goes and how well this Oregon defense goes, a lot of it's going to be determined by those 2 big men in the middle. They are both fantastic athletes, can play the run and the pass. And there you got a little bit of a taste of what Bear Alexander brings.
Returnable for Malik Benson. He scampers to the sideline with a stiff arm. Elite stars return. New faces rise. And the intensity hits another level. Unrivaled Season 2 tips off January 5th on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. So back to the offense, Oregon. Dante Moore working on a night. He's got 272 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. And he's tacked on a 5-yard touchdown run as well.
See, we talked about Dante Moore's emotional intelligence and how he likes to keep everyone involved. We haven't heard Kenyon Sadiq's name very much here tonight as a wide receiver. And DeCorian Moore, the fantastic freshman, he's on the field. I bet you they try to get the ball to him here at some point.
Here's Jay Harris looking for a cutback lane and not finding much. Well, Jamari Johnson made that amazing one-handed touchdown catch to start the game, and he has been tremendous over these last 3 games for Oregon, combining with Kenyon Sadiq. And Lewis, when you have 2 tight ends that can both flex out and can both run wide receiver type routes with speed, and how much flexibility does that give you as a play caller in terms of like the different personnel groups you can put in the game?
When you put 12 personnel on the field like that, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, it really puts the defense in a bind.
Airmail pass over the head of De'Aaron Hill.
Because what it winds up doing is when you have tight ends that can, in essence, by formation variation, can like play the role of wide receivers, then you got to decide as a defense, well, do I want to go with nickel and put nickel on the field, smaller people, and then they bring those guys back in and they just kind of put their big people on your little people?
Right.
Or do I want to keep big people on the field where they can then exploit the one-on-one matchups from an athletic standpoint? And that's just what makes Oregon so multiple.
3 players all stacked in a line right over the A-gap defensively. And they're all coming on the rush. And breaking off the route was DeCorian Moore. So miscommunication there with Dante Moore. And it looks like this will be the first punt of the night for Oregon. Although I know when you were watching tape, you saw Kenyon Sadiq and Jamari Johnson as blockers as well. I mean, when they're on the field with a 2 tight end personnel group, how do you diagnose that? They're going to throw the ball, they're going to run the ball.
You don't. That's part of the problem. And look, I mean, Jamari Johnson is 6'5", 260. So he's like a small offensive tackle. You throw on some of the tape, I go back to like the USC game, he's taking defensive ends and just turning them and torquing them and dumping them on the ground. That's why they're so multiple and so dangerous. But just getting back to DeCorian Moore, Dante Moore was trying to get the ball to him in that drive. And they're going to get him another deep shot. I promise you he's going to score a touchdown in this game.
Bit of a knuckle punt there from James Ferguson Reynolds, but it takes an Oregon roll out of bounds.
Take a look at this Oregon defense. They have really been getting after Alonzo Barnett. They've hit him a lot. Here you're going to see Betcher coming off the edge. And it just affects the timing as far as Barnett and his comfortableness in the pocket. Here again, he's getting hit as he releases the football, that time by Tuioti. And then Bear Alexander with the nice rush as the 3 technique on the outside shade of the guard. He's able to finish it off, get his hips clear, get up the field, and then retrace back down the line and finish it off. Look, Alonzo Barnett, he's really been up against it here tonight. I mean, just look at these 34 dropbacks, 13 pressures, 7 quarterback hits. Just not able to operate from a clean pocket very often. It's been a tough, long night for the JMU offense.
It's just a great example of how the pass rush, even if you're not getting sacks, can still be very impactful. Picks up 3 yards because they've tipped 4 balls at the line and just so many different times have affected Alonzo Barnett, even if they haven't sacked him.
Absolutely. And just on that run play, you see Wayne Knight looked like he had some space. He was about to burst onto the second level. Oregon playing this robber scheme this time. They had safety Peyton Woodyard playing the role that Dylan Thieneman usually plays, and he just closed that off immediately. So much speed on both sides of the ball.
Driving attempt by Wislowski, and he can't haul it in. So it will be 3rd down and 7.
See, there's an example. That time it was defensive end Ashton Porter who's coming in, and Ashton Porter is 6'3", 6'4", and Alonzo Barnett has to change his arm angle again. And again, it's that pressure, it's that disruption, those disruptive type of plays. It's not necessarily just about sacks all the time. You make the quarterback feel uncomfortable. He's just not able to settle in and find any kind of rhythm, and that's been the story here tonight.
And Oregon brings brings another blitz. And that forces an air mail throw from Barnett. Over the head of Isaiah Alston.
That time it's safety Aaron Flowers again. This time just coming from depth. So Tosh Lupoi just kind of disguising the blitzes, changing up the looks, bringing different players. But they're getting free runners and free hits on Alonzo Barnett seemingly every play.
Blocked punt. And it's going to be a scoop and score. Jaden Lamar runs it in. And now special teams strikes and adds another 6 for Oregon.
This is all created by defensive end number 9, Blake Burgess, who quite honestly just runs over tight end Lakota Dupree, who gives, if I have to say it, just an embarrassing effort as far as his ability to block and stand firm in punt protection. This is just unacceptable. If you're Lakota Dupree, you're going to look at this tape and you're going to go, that's just not the standard that we play to. He gets pushed right back into the punter's lap. You're going to see Purchase come off the edge of your screen right here, but just keep your eye on number 15, Lakota Dupree. Look at the effort that he gives. In this one-on-one protection, he ducks his head and basically cringes on contact and then backs right up into the punter. I mean, that's just unacceptable. You just can't have that happen. This should be an easy punt. This should be something that James Madison's able to get off and put their defense back on the field instead. Oregon finds another way to put up more points. That's just the kind of thing that can't happen.
That's Jaden Lamar's 4th touchdown of the season. He had 3 on the ground, and I guess that's another one on the ground, but on special teams. As the running back with a scoop and score, and the frustration continues for Bob Chesney. Curtis Harris Lopez will run it out and gets to about the 20-yard line. Chris, you doing a workout down there, or you're leaving it all to the Duck?
I'm not. The Duck's going to be a little sore tomorrow. You know, he does push-ups, not for every touchdown, but the total of the score after every touchdown. So if you add it all up, it's now 140 push-ups and counting.
I called a Wisconsin game one time where Bucky does the same thing, the Badger. But Wisconsin scored like 70 points in the game. And in the late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter, we actually witnessed Bucky tap out, ran up the tunnel, and a taller Bucky emerged from the tunnel because the first Bucky just couldn't do any more push-ups. He was to his workout limit, so they actually went to the bullpen for a replacement Bucky.
He just turned in his mascot head and said, here, you got it.
I just can't do it anymore.
This Oregon football team is just hitting on all cylinders. And right now, they're just stealing the fight and taking the fight out of this JMU football team. They're going to have to dig deep so this game doesn't get any further out of hand and have some competitive pride and finish off this last 21-22 minutes.
Barnett loops one to the sideline, flag out. It's behind Wisłowski, but the flag thrown about 10 yards closer to the line of scrimmage. And this might be offensive pass interference. It was a pick set by James Madison, and they got caught.
Yeah, they're going to get DeGennaro.
Pass interference, offense, half the distance to the goal. remains second down.
You're going to see DeGennaro right here just come right in here and set the pick. As Wisłowski just kind of comes right off of that and tries to run up the boundary. Just another error, continuing to put this offense behind the chains against this Oregon defense that right now is just locked in.
Barnett, check down, and Wayne Knight can't hold on. So now it would be 3rd down and 19 for James Madison.
See, now the concentration is starting to wane. It's starting to leave these players. They see what the inevitable outcome is likely going to be, and their concentration and their ability to kind of remain focused is just leaving them. The music gets louder. The Oregon defense is just playing. They're having fun out here now. When you're beating a team like this, you're just having fun and playing ball, and you can just take the life right out of the opponent.
Barnett running for his life. And just heaves it up the sideline out of bounds to throw it away. And it was Tatum Tuioti with the latest pressure up front for Oregon, as Barnett has been under heat a lot tonight.
I mean, Tuioti has had like 3 runs and has kind of been turned loose by this JMU offensive line. A lot more than you would expect for a guy who has 7 sacks on the season and came into this game as the leading sacker on this team. And look, Tosh Lupoi told us there's going to be some information gathering early on in this football game and see what they can, how JMU was going to try to attack them, and then they would lock in. And here they go.
Malik Benson cuts back, breaks a tackle, can't break another. But Oregon will start in plus territory. So the Ducks well on their way to taking on Texas Tech in South Florida. Of course, the Red Raiders with a 12-1 record to win the Big 12 this season, their first trip to the college football playoff. And you have to go all the way back to 1936, the beginning of the AP poll era, to put in perspective the offensive performances this year by Texas Tech and the defensive performances as well. They have 12 wins by 20 or more points. The only team in the entire AP era to have more than that was the 2018 Clemson team. They had 13. So tied second basically all time in the modern era of college football, winning lopsided games.
The last time we saw Texas Tech in that Big 12 championship, they looked dominant.
And the 2 freshmen now play a little wildcat football. Jordan Davison takes the direct snap, and it's freshman to freshman. Hands it off to De'Air Hill. Gain of only a yard. So now it's almost experiment time for Dan Lanning and Will Stein, the play caller.
We can get some guys some reps. As you see, they got Jay Harrison here now at running back, who goes 6'2", 224 himself. And get some guys some playing time, because you never know who you're going to need as you continue to advance through these playoffs.
Backwards pass to Jeremiah McClellan. And he is breaking tackles down to the 31-yard line, a first down.
And just look at that effort. That second effort. You have 3 guys right there, and he's running through all 3 of them, continuing to fight like they're the ones that are down multiple touchdowns in this football game. But McClellan and Malik Benson, they have been the unsung heroes of this football team here down the stretch.
Dante Moore up the seam. McClellan again. It's 1st and goal.
Look at this throw. How he just layers this ball in between 3 defenders. 3 defenders. Look at the hole that he hits right here, right over the referee's head. That is a first-round, top-of-the-draft quarterback type of throw. And that's why his decision, ultimately when he makes it, is going to be something that everyone is holding their breath waiting for. Is he going to leave? Is he ready to go? Does he feel like he needs more time? Just look at that stat line here tonight.
Mosh pit. Jay Harris doesn't pick up much. Well, Dante Moore's already shown the maturity to maybe take a year off for his own development, but this is a developed quarterback.
Just look at the anticipation. Look how he throws the receiver open, kind of sits him right down in that zone.
He transferred from UCLA knowing he was going to sit behind Dylan Gabriel for a developmental year. And still a year later, Mel Kiper has him as the #1 overall prospect. If he decides to come out at age 20, he would be 20 years old on draft day.
It's the poise and calmness in the pocket.
And a clean pocket again. This time, a little too much air on the ball over Sadiq.
Oh, I think he had to get that over top of Trent Hendrick. Trying to get that ball up and down. Doesn't have a whole lot of space to do it. He maybe just misfired that one. Sadiq was open.
This is the 6th play of the drive. This is the most plays of any Oregon possession tonight. All-out blitz. Side-arming one to the sideline. And it is an interception. Justin Eaglin has the sideline and gets blown up out of bounds inside the 40-yard line of Oregon. So that time the blitz from James Madison. And now flags after the play. Sire West was over defending Eaglin.
You see he's trying to get this ball to Jamari Johnson, who falls down at the end of the route. You're going to see him here. He's just going to try and release out here, and you're going to see Eaglin. Right place, right time. Just makes the interception. You see there Jamari Johnson, the ball's underthrown because Dante Moore was under pressure. It always happens when you
after the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, passing team, number 9. 15 yards will be added to the play. That's number 9's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game.
And you can see Jamari Johnson come over and go face mask to face mask after the play was over with Eaglin.
Yeah, that was Jamari that Dante Moore was trying to get the football to.
So this, by far, the best starting field position of the night for James Madison, beginning on the doorstep of the red zone. Here comes an all-out blitz. They're going to run right into it. Bouncing off tacklers, trying to find some room, is Wayne Knight. There were a couple of Ducks just running full speed downhill at the snap. And still, Wayne Knight was able to work his way for 3 yards.
Yeah, Toss LaPointe says, hey, look, we're not holding back. How about this? We're going to blitz our linebacker number 23, Braden Platt. Aaron Flowers coming downhill as well. Just keeping the pressure on.
Screen. Kozlowski. Close to a first down. One out by Naeem Offord. About a yard short of the line to gain, so it will be 3rd down and 1 at the 12. It'll take us down inside of a couple of minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Wayne Knight scoots through the line. And he's got enough. It'll be 1st and goal at the 9.
This is where now Alonzo Barnett's legs come into play. Primarily, they've been trying to get the ball out here on the perimeter with these quick wide receiver screens and little option routes and whip routes. Tonight, 3 possessions, no TDs. They've had to settle for field goals, which is just something that put them behind the 8 ball right from the get-go.
Barnett backpedaling, flags everywhere as he hoists one to the sideline. I think 3 different officials saw the same holding penalty.
Holding, offense, number 68, 10-yard penalty. It's still 1st down.
It's true freshman guard Trent Wilson called for the hold.
Yeah, this is about as blatant of a hold as you could possibly see in the game of football. Just keep your eye on number 68, Trent. Just watch this. I mean, he basically doesn't even try to hide it. He says, look, I just can't let you go, man. I can't let you hit my quarterback. It's just been that kind of night for this offensive line. And that's why Alonzo Barnett has just been under duress. They just don't have the foot speed and the lateral range to handle the kind of athletes that Oregon is throwing at them up front.
False start.
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
When this was still a game in the first half, we had a couple of situations, again, where James Madison, as you said, Lewis, got to the red zone on their opening possession and stalled and had to kick a field goal. On their second possession, got to the 10-yard line, trying to make it a one-score game at the time. And they committed a couple of penalties that just knocked them out of any realistic goal-to-go distance, and they've done it again. Barnett, this time all day to throw. Loops one, back left corner of the end zone, and a rolling catch, it looks like, is made for the touchdown. George Pettaway, the wheel route down the sideline, and a dime from Alonzo Barnett.
This is a nice play design. The way in which they sneak Pettaway out of the backfield and get him one-on-one against the linebacker, 23, Braden Platt. He releases up inside the offensive tackle. As he secures the ball, ball doesn't move all the way through the ground. That is a really nice play design and really nice execution on the part of JMU.
First touchdown of the season for George Pettaway. And James Madison has 20 points on the board. That's the first time they've gotten to the red zone and connected for touchdown.
You're going to see Pettaway. He's just going to release up inside the tackle and down the boundary. They're just isolating the linebacker, number 23, Braden Platt, who recognizes it. He sees it. He just does not have the foot speed to keep up with Pettaway. He just runs away from him. And Alonzo Barnett just throws a perfect ball in the corner of the end zone. Again, take another look at it from Skycam. He recognizes it right away, but they got the matchup that they want. And Pettaway has got real speed. It shows up on tape when you watch JMU throughout the season. He can really go in a straight line, and he just outruns him to the corner of the end zone.
That's Pettaway's first touchdown of the year and his third career receiving touchdown. So the North Carolina transfer, second year, James Madison. And Cristiano Rosa rolls one to the 30-yard line. Saliapaga scoops another one up. Hard Knocks in season, with the NFC East takes you behind the seasons as the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and Commanders fight for a division title. New episodes Tuesdays at 9 Eastern on HBO Max. Where will Dante Moore be playing next season? Will it be in that league or still in Eugene, Oregon?
You see Alonzo Barnett with the nice touchdown throw. He's been under duress all night long. Dante Moore, I'm sure he wants to make amends for the interception he threw previously that led to the touchdown that JMU just scored.
Direct snap to Jordan Davison. And speed to the edge.
Wow.
First down.
Understand now, Jordan Davison is close to 240 pounds. He's 6 foot 236, takes the direct snap, and they've been able to get on the edge any time that they want. They have just run the football with amazing efficiency. The outside run game, it's been impressive.
307 passing yards for the Ducks, and now they're up to 178 rushing yards. Moore under center with the handoff to Davison. And this time he's stopped at the line of scrimmage by Syer West. So unless Oregon opts to snap the ball before the end of the quarter, they don't have to. That might take us to the end of the third. They're lining right back up. They want to try to get another snap off before the end of the quarter, unless it's a hard count from Dante Moore. And now the look over. Now it looks like they might let the rest of the time expire. So we'll head to the fourth quarter here at Autzen Stadium. Dominant performance so far by the Ducks. You're watching the College Football Playoff first round, presented by Allstate.
To Eugene, joined with Oregon head coach Dan Lanning. The message coming out of half was put your foot on the pedal. What would you like to see out of your group in this final quarter?
A finish. Yeah, just go out here and finish, right? We've given them a couple things. We've done a poor job executing a couple things here as well. So we just got to go out here and finish the fourth quarter the way we can play.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
That's Coach. He will always be a perfectionist, trying to find the things to correct, even though his team is up 48-20. And the crowd here at Autzen not taking their foot off the gas pedal either as we start the fourth quarter. Barbara Schusen, Lewis Riddick, and Chris Budden and Stormy Bonantoni down on the sidelines. The final game of the College Football Playoff first round. Your thoughts on your first trip to Autzen, taking in this atmosphere?
Yeah, I'm just kind of soaking it in, looking around. I mean, not a single person has left here. This place is still jam-packed. All of Oregon's starters still on the football field.
Toss to Dier Hill. And he spins for a couple of yards. And there is something to be said for playing at least these first-round games. And who knows, maybe down the road, these atmospheres being so electric and so fun, they'll play even more games of the College Football Playoff.
No doubt.
In home stadiums.
I think it's a good thing. It's a great thing, as a matter of fact, that this is the format that they are using here for the first round, because these games are just so fun.
Rolling out is Dante Moore. And tosses one to the sideline to Davison, who drops it. For only the second time, I believe, tonight, the punt group will come out for the Ducks.
When the offense gets back on the field, and assuming that they keep their frontline starters in, we need to highlight guys like Kenyon Sadiq, who are going to be first-round players in the NFL at the next level, he hasn't had a big statistical night. But we need to highlight his competitiveness as a blocker, as this game, they're up 4 scores in this game. And he's still playing like the score is 0-0. There's a reason why this football team's as good as it is.
The rugby-style kick rolls all the way down to the 11-yard line.
College Football Playoff first round is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands.
Back in Eugene. The first 5 possessions of the night for Oregon were all touchdowns, and they've never looked back. 48-20. They have the lead on James Madison, the champions of the Sun Belt, in the opening round of the College Football Playoff. JMU back to the offense at their own 11-yard line. So the long field out in front of them. Alonzo Barnett still fighting the good fight. He has been under pressure a lot tonight. A lot of blitzes have come his way from Tosh Lupoy, and this time he's got room to run. Scamper to the sideline and get right to the first down marker. So a 10-yard gain. Naeem Offord forced him out of bounds. Might be inches short of a first down. His second down, about the length of the football to go.
This Oregon defense really doesn't like to expose its secondary to big plays. They are big play averse. You see, they play a lot of too high looks. So even here late in the football game, continuing to keep a lid on this JMU offense by and large and trying to prevent the big plays and make them go the long, hard way to try and score any points.
Going back to help the quarterback is Jalen Sanchez, and he's loose to the sideline. Out of bounds near midfield. Well, you talked earlier about how at times when the game gets lopsided for JMU, they might be losing concentration. Is that the case for Oregon at all?
Yeah, here, you know, the corner Obideku, he's got to keep outside leverage. He has all of his teammates pursuing the football inside out, and he lets Jalen Sanchez get outside of him where he's got no help and he can just run up the sideline. That's just a lack of concentration. That's just not playing good fundamental football here in the fourth quarter when you're up by 4 scores.
Looping throw, and it is there over the shoulder for DeGennaro. Nice touch throw from Alonzo Barnett. Had to adjust it, DeGennaro, but he did it well.
And here's another example. Now you got Peyton Woodyard just playing poor technique. DeGennaro gets behind him. Now that's 2 chunk plays in a row. And that's because that's just a lack of concentration, fundamental breakdowns. And you see Dan Lanning, he is pacing on the sideline now. You can tell he is getting a little bit annoyed about this.
Barnett, incomplete. Hoping for Logan Kyle.
Here, Peyton Woodyard, you just got to keep outside leverage, and if he, or at the very least, this wheel with this slot fade type of route by DeGennaro, not just reach your arms out and try and grab him, but give some ground, get your hips open and run down the field. You can see Lanning, I mean, he's just giving his team the death stare.
Another batted ball, the 5th of the night. That one was knocked down by Kingston Lopa.
Lopa just playing that kind of robber position that Thieneman plays. Able to get his hands up, time to jump, time to throw.
Third down and 10. And they find a crease for Wayne Knight. He's got the first down. Make it 1st and goal at the 10-yard line.
It's a nice little trap type of scheme here. You see they get the block out on Bear Alexander, and they're up on the 2nd level in a hurry. No Bryce Betcher in the game, no Dylan Thieneman in the game right now, and you can just see that the interior of the defense getting attacked a little bit with this run game, but it's the communication errors, the mental breakdowns in the back end as far as technique that are costing Oregon right now.
Barnett high over the head of Wisłowski. So 2nd down and goal from the 10. And you can see Joby Mallory, number 28, there right next to Barnett. He's an Oregon native. This was a great game for him, a homecoming game. He dreamt of playing for Oregon when he was growing up. Began his career as a walk-on at Portland State and then eventually transferred. And he is behind that bunch set to the left. See if the ball ends up with number 28 here. No, it's quarterback run. The C's part. And Barnett gets down inside the 2. So that odd formation cleared out personnel, I guess. And Barnett saw a lane. Kingston Lopa saved the touchdown.
Yeah, they definitely had the numbers in their favor. They had 5 blockers up front on the offensive line for 4 guys, for 4 down linemen.
That puts James Madison over 400 yards of offense.
There's some things in this game that Dan Lanning's going to want to clean up, and I understand that the game isn't in danger of being lost by them at the current moment. But as they've rotated more players in here, the mistakes have started to increase.
A little Philly special. Leaping into the end zone is Lakota Dupree. It looked like he might wanted to throw the football. And instead, he did the work himself. So the tight end on the reverse scores.
They did a nice job of recognizing what the play ultimately was going to become, which was they had a run-pass option. They could have thrown the ball out here to Alonzo Barnett, but he was covered nicely by the cornerback, Offord. And if you're Kingston Lopa, you just can't go low and try and tackle someone at the goal line like that. They're just going to jump over you and score. More or less, you're making a business decision. You don't want to take him on up top. But Kingston Lopa goes 6'5", 210.
So James Madison lines up to go for 2. Barnett back of the end zone. In the corner, incomplete. Isaiah Alston couldn't climb the ladder. So it's a 22-point lead for Oregon with 10:26 to go in the fourth quarter. Was a flag thrown.
Illegal shift. Offense, number 52 and 18 were moving and never got reset for a second. Now penalties decline. The result of the try is no good.
So with 10.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, James Madison finds the end zone again. The leap by Lakota Dupree. And 6 more for JMU. Season fare any better than they did in year 1 of the college football playoff, the new 12-team format. We'll find out. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. The top 4 seeds. 3 teams already officially know their opponent, and Texas Tech awaits the winner of this game. And James Madison trying to keep some faint hope alive as a hands team is out there for Oregon, expecting an onside kick. After James Madison pulled within 22, Cristiano Rosa has the ball on the tee. And a bunch set on either side of the field for the Dukes. And they are lining up to go for the onside kick. Rosa changes sides and bunts it, and it's immediately covered. Thieneman in perfect position to field the ground ball, and so that means Oregon, with the failed onside kick, will begin in plus territory with 10.5 minutes to go.
Ducks will have it 1st and 10.
And with the score 48-26, Lewis, there is still a segment of the audience that is very interested in where this score sits right now.
Sure there is.
Yeah, the 2-point try for James Madison was interesting to that audience, to say the least.
I'm sure it was. And now you got still all the regular starters. As a matter of fact, the starters that started the football game, the exact starting group that started the game, is out on the field here now.
And we've got Noah Whittington back in with Dante Moore in the backfield. And they will run it with Whittington. Stiff arms his way to the sideline and fights for 4 yards. Trent Hedrick bumped him out. That's the number 2 rush defense in America for James Madison that Dan Lanning's team is going up against. Of course, that was in the Sun Belt Conference, but against 9 Sun Belt opponents, they only allowed 143 second-half rushing yards the whole season. And Marshall had 141 of those in 1 game. So in their other 8 conference games, they allowed 2 total second-half rushing yards. I don't think I've ever seen a statistic close to that for a defense. As the screen finds its way to Malik Benson. He's got about 1.5 yards.
Yeah, 76.2 rushing yards per game allowed. Oregon knocking on the door, just one more explosive run away from maybe going over 200 for the game, as you see the graphic pop up on our screen there at the bottom left.
And conversely, Oregon has run for 200 or more yards in half their games this season. So they're a top 14 rushing offense, and that's in the Big Ten.
The outside run game has been where they have really hurt JMU here today.
Again, wide open to the sideline, Malik Benson. And Dante Moore puts it right on him for a first down.
Well, he had the corner out leverage right from the get-go, and the safety can't get out underneath, and you're going to see him there. He just runs the quick speed out in the corner, number 30, Justin England. He can't get back downhill on it, and DJ Barksdale can't get underneath it fast enough.
The 6th time this season that Oregon's offense has gone over 500 yards. And we still have 8.5 minutes to go. Running with Davison. He slips at the 26-yard line, but he's got 5.
Tell you, when they have run the football off the left side behind All-American Emmanuel Pregnon and Isaiah World, number 76, those two have really been effective as far as getting great blocks at the point of attack. 507 total yards. Knocking on the door of 50 points here, which they're likely going to go over if they attempt a field goal at the very least. The left side of this offensive line, as I was saying, has been doing work. The tight ends blocking, the running backs hitting it downhill.
Davison again. This time they get the true freshman down at the line of scrimmage. Michael McMullen made the stop, so it will be 3rd down and 5. That time they stopped Jordan Davison. But when you were saying you were looking at Jordan Davison, you think number 0 in green at some point could be, what, a top 10 pick in the draft, and he has that level of talent?
Absolutely. He's got speed, quickness, size. He can pass protect. They say that he knows all the assignments of everyone on the offense. He's just matured well beyond his years. Super intelligent running back.
Yeah, Dan Lanning said his intelligence is a separator. He could line all 11 guys up, and they toss it to him again. I think he's got the first down. Into the red zone.
I mean, they've got an embarrassment of riches at running back. Between him, Whittington, and De'Aaron Hill. I've noticed it as we have made our way around the country this year. The young running backs and young wide receivers have just been fantastic. And there is a bunch of them, a bunch of young freshman skill players in the playoffs right now. And there you see this three-headed monster that they have here. All of them averaging well over 6 yards per carry. And just look, I mean, Davison has 13 touchdowns. De'Aaron Hill hit 23 miles per hour on the GPS on his long TD run. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Davison again, flag thrown behind the play. He's down to the 13-yard line. Looks like this one might be coming back.
Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 76, 15-yard penalty, still first down.
So Isaiah World grabs the face mask.
You're going to see him right here. He's just going to reach back and grab the face mask of the defensive tackle, Taddeo, number 33.
First down, 25.
We talk about that last recruiting class for Dan Lanning. I mean, the true freshman he has on this team. Naeem Offord, Brandon Finney, who back up each other, alternating at corner. They were both top 7 cornerbacks in the country. Davison and De'Aaron Hill are both top 10 running backs, and DeCorian Moore was the #1 wide receiver in our ESPN 300. David Lamar with a jump cut. So you talked about it when we began the broadcast, obviously comparing the two rosters, all of the 4- and 5-star talent that Dan Lanning has here.
Yeah, and then just smartly supplement it through the transfer portal. They have a healthy NIL budget out here in Eugene where they can pick and choose who they want, and players are going to go in the transfer portal and want to come here and want to play in this stadium, in this offensive system, utilize these facilities. They are in the sweet spot right now as far as modern day college football.
Lamar, jet sweep, little toss ahead, and that was read nicely. Dante Moore flipped it to him, but Lamar lost a couple of yards. Lamar Thomas was waiting for him, held the edge and made the stop. So now it's 3rd down and long, 3rd and 17. That's the first tackle for loss of the day for James Madison. Lamar empties the backfield. Dante Moore sets up the screen to Lamar, but it floated his way, and he had no chance. Hendrick closed the gap and brought him down.
That's just a nice read by the All-American Trent Hendrick. He's just going to beat the block of Malik Benson and make the tackle for a loss. We really enjoyed our time meeting with Trent Hendrick. Very prideful individual, has had a great career at JMU.
Only on the field was a completed catch. Timeout. James Madison.
James Madison
Their
calls
first of the half.
a timeout with 4:22 to go.
To 4:27.
And they'll actually add 5 seconds. So it looks like a field goal attempt for Oregon when we come back. Back to the college football playoff first round, presented by Allstate. 4.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And it will be a field goal attempt. Atticus Sappington is going to get a chance to try one from 48. He made a 51-yarder in the final regular season game against Washington. That was the longest field goal made by an Oregon place kicker since all the way back in 2008. And that was his career high. So the transfer from Oregon State, now kicking for the Ducks. His biggest kick of the year by far. The game winner with 3 seconds to go against Iowa. And Dan Lanning said we never should have left it to him, but boy did he come through when he needed to. And he will come through here. Make it a 25-point lead for Oregon. And Dante Moore is putting together teach tape tonight, Lewis.
He sure is. I mean, he is showing you all the things that you want to see from a high-level quarterback. Here, just looking off, coming backside, hitting his tight end, Jamari Johnson, here early in the football game with a nice layer throw down the seam. Just giving his wide receiver a chance. This time, Jeremiah McClellan, who makes the fantastic catch. Then he just puts up the 9-ball here to Malik Benson, who just absolutely blows by the corner, Justin Eaglin. And then here it's just a busted coverage. And Malik Benson again is the beneficiary of a pinpoint pass on the part of Dante Moore.
He's 20 years old. This is only his 18th start all time, but is he ready? I mean, you're someone that lived the personnel evaluation life in the NFL. Do you think he's ready? Or he showed the maturity to take a gap year behind Dylan Gabriel. If there was ever a guy that might say, look, I need another year, it might be him.
He sure did.
Look, what would you tell him to do?
I think for guys like him, I think it all depends upon who the projected suitors are for him, who are the projected teams that could be drafting him. Not every situation is good for every quarterback, obviously. And I think for him, I'd want to go to a place, obviously, that has as much stability as possible. It has the kind of coaching and front office support and ownership support that will allow me a great chance at success. And you just look at his resume, you know, right now, in his timeline, and the number 2 recruit overall in the ESPN 300. And even though he has gone back and forth, committed to Oregon, goes to UCLA, comes back to Oregon, and sits behind Dylan Gabriel. It's that move right there. It's this one right here that really speaks to how this young man is wired.
Gain possession of the ball at the 1-yard line. The first attempt at the 1-yard line.
James Madison.
All right, we're going to employ Matt Austin at least one time tonight. The poor guy's been sitting waiting for us to talk to him. And this, Matt, is Curtis Harris Lopez, who wanted to try and get the ball in the end zone for a touchback. They spotted it at the 1-yard line. Why?
Well, he signaled for a fair catch, and then he muffed the ball, so you can't advance it. He's lucky he did, because he picked it up in the field to play. Then he took it back into the end zone, which would have made it a safety. The minute he picked it up, it was dead. So it's their ball at the 1.
He thought he was going to be able to back up and get the benefit of the touchback, but obviously calling for the fair catch first nullified that. So it'll be Barnett from the end zone. And he finds an inside route to DeGeneiro and a little breathing room out to the 4-yard line.
Dan Lanning had seen all that he wanted to see as far as some of the mistakes and communication errors in the back end. The All-American Dylan Thieneman back in the game.
James Madison snapped it too quickly. They were not ready.
False start. Offense. Not all 11 players were set for 1 second prior to the snap. Half the distance to the goal. It's still second down.
So that brings the ball back to the 2-yard line with under 4 minutes remaining. And here comes another Oregon blitz. Incomplete pass. There's the flag. DeGeneiro was grabbed a bit by Obidegu. And Ife Obidegu is going to be called for pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 7. The ball he placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And Obidegu gets beat off the line of scrimmage. You see DeGeneiro sets him up pretty well. And you see that left hand that kind of grabs DeGeneiro around the waist. You're going to see it right there. That's what they call him for, as he tries to slingshot himself back to inside leverage and get his hand on the football for the PBU. They'll call you for that every time.
James Madison has 407 yards of offense, and they've got 26 points on the board. So their offense at times tonight has produced. It's just their defense could not get a stop in the first half. And there's Wisniewski making a catch and carrying some tacklers. Fighting his way out to the 45-yard line. The effort's still there for the Dukes. 32 yards with 3.5 minutes to go.
That is a heck of a throw and a heck of a route by Braden Wisniewski. And you're going to see Alonzo Barnett let that ball go early and hit right in that zone void. And you've seen that show up on tape as well. Wisniewski has been a guy who's been able to exploit some of those seams down the field against zone coverage.
And now Wayne Knight with a reception in plus territory.
It's natural when you have a big lead like this to subconsciously in your mind start to let up and let your mind drift as a defender and not really lock in on the details. But this cannot be making Dan Lanning happy.
The pass rush now gets home. And down goes Barnett for the second time tonight. Again, the pass rush has been there regularly tonight, pressuring Alonzo Barnett. But Ashton Porter gets sack number 2 to make it 3rd down and 5.
Really, it's Blake Purchase that really makes this sack. He's the one who's able to come off the blind side and force Alonzo Barnett up into the pocket.
They will run it with Wayne Knight. And he breaks free! Wayne Knight eyeing the end zone to the 1-yard line. He is brought down just short of the goal line. 49 yards. That looked like the run he made to basically put away the Sun Belt Championship game against Troy.
This is just terrible tackling on the part of the secondary.
This is the 2-minute timeout
by Oregon. You see he's just short of the goal line. 2 Oregon defenders, Aaron Flowers and Dylan Thieneman, had a chance and missed them.
That run by Wayne Knight. And Lewis, you were not impressed with the tackling there of Oregon. That puts Wayne Knight over 100 yards in the game.
No, both safeties, Aaron Flowers and Dylan Thieneman, they basically knocked each other off of the tackle attempt.
So Barnett to throw, loops one, out of the reach of the 5'7" running back Wayne Knight, but there was a flag down.
They're going to call offensive pass interference again.
Pass interference. Offense, number 18. 15-yard penalty. It's still first down.
That's the second time that James Madison has been caught setting a pick. And offensive pass interference on Logan Kyle.
Yeah, you're going to see him. He's just going to take an inside release. You see him. He obviously is looking up to safety Aaron Flowers as he's trying to get out and cover Wayne Knight. Just cannot make it so obvious.
Red zone penalties tonight. Goal to go penalties have been a problem for James Madison.
No question.
And this backs them up. Goal to go, but all the way back to the 16-yard line. Oregon brings another blitz. Slant, and that was right on top of Wayne Knight before he was ready.
Incomplete. Second goal to 16.
Wayne's got to be quicker getting his head around. Nice job by Devin Jackson of just kind of jamming him as he's trying to get out of his break and kind of throws him off balance and distorts him a little bit. Even in these waning moments of the football game, these are some of the moments where coaches criticize the film and critique the film even harsher than they did at the beginning, because they hate when players start to lose their focus and start to play sloppy football.
Another blitz. Right up the gut. A nice adjustment by Barnett. And he finds Pettaway out of the backfield. Pettaway with a terrific touchdown catch earlier. And now he puts them inside the 5-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 3. So 2 cracks at it from here. Looks like right at the goal line, where the nose of the football might be touching the goal line when they spot this one, but he did come up short, and a timeout's been called with 1:05 to go.
Timeout, James Madison. Their second of the half. 30 seconds in length. Please reset the game clock to 1:08.
So they had a little bit of time, and yes, indeed, you can see the ball down at about the half-yard line. So stay tuned after the game. The College Football Playoff postgame presented by AT&T with Adam Lefkoe, Takeo Spikes, Champ Bailey, and Victor Cruz. They'll have interviews, in-depth analysis of our game, and catch you up on everything that happened today and last night as well in the College Football Playoff first round. That is the postgame presented by AT&T, and that is on deck.
JMU going to be able to tack another 7 points onto this score. Show the kind of competitive character that these young men have shown all year long on the way to winning their conference championship.
Iowa Dave to the right of Barnett. 4th and goal. Barnett, straight quarterback run. And he breaks the plane for the touchdown. So starting at their own 1-yard line after the muffed fair catch, they go 99 yards for the score.
It's good blocking at the point of attack. Alonzo Barnett is showing you something that he has shown you all year long. He has been a heck of a producer down inside the 20-yard line, down inside the 5, quarterback draws, quarterback counters. He's been a nightmare for teams all season long.
And they are going to go for 2 again with 1:05 to go. DeGennaro pulls it in for the 2. Terrific catch. He's had a heck of a night.
He sure has. He just sets the defensive back up with a, make him feel like he's going to go outside to the pylon, then comes back inside, and you see him just reach back across his body, gets both feet down as if he's playing in the NFL. I mean, that is this high-level execution. And part of the transfer from Richmond. He's had a nice season. Came into this game with 410 yards, receiving 4 touchdowns, averaging just under 19 or just under 18 yards per reception. And give these guys credit.
Yeah,
they have fought all the way to the end in what has been a long football game.
A 99-yard drive, and again it will begin New Year's Eve between Ohio State and Miami as the college football playoff quarterfinals are all but set. Only a minute 5 seconds away from making Oregon the official opponent for Texas Tech. And it'll be a heck of a second round. The quarterfinal matchups in this year's college football playoff.
Just some incredible matchups. Are you kidding? Yeah, this Oregon Tech game is going to be a head knocker for sure. Rematches, just great stylistic matchups. It's going to be a great weekend of college football again.
Another onside kick attempt, and that is grabbed by Jerry Mixon. So now Dan Lanning's team, if they want, can go to victory formation. And a 99-yard drive to make this a 17-point game. I don't know if that necessarily qualifies as a Scott Van Pelt, Stanford Steve bad beat, but it's at least in the discussion. So I'm not sure if anybody thought James Madison was going to put a 99-yard touchdown drive on the board to close things out, but Dante Moore will indeed go to victory formation. Don't have to worry about style points or votes anymore. Now it is just win and advance, and that is exactly what Oregon will do. And now they will turn their focus to a matchup in South Florida with Texas Tech, the 4 seed and the 5 seed. And 2 teams, Lewis, that score in bunches, and 2 teams that this year have played great defense at times as well.
They sure have. Look, that Texas Tech Red Raider defense, oh my goodness. When we saw them last, like I said, in the Big 12 championship against BYU, they were absolutely hunting. They have got a great front 7. They got huge linebackers, ball hawks at safety, size at wide receiver. I mean, it's the competition just gets better. It just gets harder and harder for these teams now, and it just ratchets up. It's going to be fun to watch.
.51-34 is the final, and you can see Chris Button is with the winning coach.
And the explosiveness that you had, you score on special teams. What are you most pleased with today?
We didn't play our best football, right? We turned the ball over multiple times. We got to play better on defense. It's like tale of 2 halves. Played well in the first half, didn't play well in the second. We can play much better than that.
As you look ahead next week to get to play Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl, what will be the focus for you as you're talking about some of the things you want to clean up?
Getting better, period. Getting better, right? We got an opportunity to advance. Now we got an opportunity to improve.
For Dante Moore, the guy that sat and waited last year, what is it about his skill set and his demeanor that he's the guy that leads you guys to the quarterfinals?
Yeah, he's a special player. He's been special for us all year. We're going to need his best down the stretch here.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stormy?
Oh, yeah, I see we've got a guest here. Can you tell me about what this guy, the show that he put on today?
Man, you know, first and foremost, just give glory to God, man. The way this guy works, day in and day out, man, it shows out on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? The way he prepares, it just shows, you know, the hard work that he puts in every single day, making sure everybody's on the same page from the line to the backfield and to the receivers. You know, it shows out.
See, we had to let him brag on you for a minute before you talk about yourself. You guys put your foot on the pedal from that opening drive and never looked back. How dialed in were you guys from staff number 1 tonight?
Yeah, I mean, first got to give kudos to JMU. JMU did a great job this whole year. I mean, the game was closer than what people expected, but overall, it's a great talented team, great coaching staff. But overall, I got to give credit to the whole team when it comes to up front, the running backs, receivers, tight ends. It's like overall, we just dominated all day. Of course, there's a little bit of mistakes we put in, but at the end of the day, we can go back to the film room, learn from our mistakes. But overall, it was a great day. Got to give kudos to JMU.
You told us this week when you guys are playing loose and having fun, that's when you're at your best. How much fun was tonight?
Man, it's a blessing, like Pancho always says. We got to give glory to God all the time. And, you know, we're one of 12 teams in the playoffs. I mean, it's a dream come true as us kids, you know, praying to be here. And overall, like I said, you know, we get to advance, you know, next week. But the biggest thing right now is learning from our mistakes and getting our bodies recovered.
Hey, and now 1 of 8. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. God bless.
So an impressive win for Oregon. And for the first time in program history, the Ducks will play in an Orange Bowl, as that will lead off the triple header on New Year's Day. The Capital One Orange Bowl is set. Oregon will head all the way down to South Florida to take on the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. It'll be a terrific triple header, and of course it's preceded by the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic the night before, the Canes and the Buckeyes. So the quarterfinals are ready. 51-34 the final of our first round game, Oregon over James Madison. Coming up after a short break, it is the College Football Playoff postgame presented by AT&T. Adam Lefko, Takeo Spikes, Champ Bailey, and Victor Cruz are standing by, and they will have a lot of Oregon highlights to go over tonight. It began with Jamari Johnson and Dante Moore on the ground. For Lewis Riddick, Chris Budden, Stormy Bonatoni, I'm Bob Wischusen. Thanks so much for watching. Stick around. The postgame report is next.